I've felt like I've crushed things before and like actually did a terrible job.
Dude, my wife knows about that when I have sex with her.
Same.
I love how you keep saying lawyer like it's a slur.
It is a slur.
Lawyer.
Anything's possible at this point.
Put another quarter in the Alex Jones was right jar.
That's evolved quickly.
Welcome to the podcast, brother.
Say hi to Eli. He's racially ambiguous, and Brandon. His hair is fucking fabulous, and Donut, a dark joke disposition, and there's a fat electrician. Welcome to Unsubscribe.
Hey, what is up, everyone? I just wanted to do a quick update on the autism goal. We were just trying to break last year's, and go above and beyond. We are just shy of that 250,000 goal, but because of that, I'm extending this until Monday. If you head over to Bunker and buy any of the autism-related merch, 100% will be going towards that. We all just want to crush that goal, and it is truly amazing to see that number. Thank you all so freaking much. Head over to bunkerbranding.com/unsub. Anything you buy that is autism-related will be going towards that amazing cause. I don't think you understand how many lives you are changing with that amount and the families you are helping. I am speechless just knowing we're going to be able to donate the amount we have now. So thank you so freaking much. Y'all are amazing humans. I am so thankful for everything y'all do. Head over to Bunker, buy some autism related merch. Let's kick some butt. Let's see how big this gets. Thank you all so much. Also, Echelon might or might not have one of our new flavors. Double Tap Tea. Just go check it out. Just go give a gander at drinkechelon.com. We rolling the audio. Okay, ready?
Donut,
so
go.
at this, we
You
will
don't gotta
count
drink
down.
it, you gotta crack it.
Yeah.
Just in front of the mic.
Ready? Oh, yeah, this one?
No, this one. All right, sorry.
Oh, you're good. You're good. Ready? 3, 2, 1.
Oh, that orange cream flavor is actually really good.
Yeah, and it's orange now.
That helps.
Cody says it's good with vanilla ice cream. Or
Yeah.
Vanilla protein powder.
I could see
I've
that.
also heard it's good with Greek yogurt for some reason.
Oh, that actually sounds really good.
I'll
Fuck.
try that. Anyway,
That's weird.
welcome to the Unsubscribe podcast. I'm joined today by Eli Doubletap, Nic, the Fat Electrician, other Nic McKinley, and myself, Donut Operator. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you, Donut. Truly appreciate it. By the way, we forgot to bring this up. Demo's dad stopped us. He was at our restaurant. Demo's dad
Matt Carrickers?
Yeah.
did? Okay.
Yeah. Matt Carrickers' dad comes up. It's like, Cody, or he sees Cody. Oh, man. Dude, how's the race going? It's awesome to see. Like, as
Unironically.
Brandon is sitting right next to him, I look at Brandon and he's like,
Mr. Carricker, a man who has met both me and Cody, he just goes up like, we're really rooting for you.
we voted
And
for you.
me and Eli immediately like, oh, it's happening again.
You have to do the thing. You have to do the thing where you send Cody in to sit in your seat for just like one thing where you have a body double go in and it's Cody.
That might be a crime.
It's fine.
Nah, it'll be fine.
Just have him like give an interview or something. Like trick a news outlet into thinking
I think
he's
we
you.
could. We genuinely
You could
do
do
that.
it.
And then just make sure he takes a breathalyzer before. There's a fine line of which Cody you're getting.
You know,
Honestly,
which is funnier.
It might be better if Cody drops a couple of slurs and the news says that a congressman did it and it's verifiably not the congressman. They have the footage. It would be hilarious.
Not
my
really, because
God.
then it blows up and it's still Congressman's best friend. Like, that's not great.
Oh, man. Yeah, I forgot we didn't tell you that yesterday.
That's a
I was
super
dying.
relatable story, though. My friends are trying to ruin my career because they think it's funny.
And they don't have to know it's your best friend.
Oh.
Well, I mean, his name's literally, or his profile picture is literally to the right of my Twitter handle right now because I'm still under his like corporate account.
the world
Whoop.
knows.
Womp womp.
I don't even know that man. Cue 200 episodes of Unsubscribe and every other piece of content you've done together.
The Army of Darkness. I've never even seen this asshole before.
Oh, man. Mr. Nic, what is up? It is, this is one of the episodes, it'll be a little more serious tone, but also the amount of knowledge and then your resume is fucking insane. Yeah.
but it looks good on paper. But I'll tell you, man, like I had a pretty mediocre, average career, right?
Oh.
I mean, you look at the stuff that I did, and people look at that, they're like, "Oh, that's really cool." I'm like, "Yeah, but you should know the guys that I know."
Looking
right?
good on paper is impressive to us.
Oh, okay,
You
well,
told
there
us,
go.
you told us
There
at
you go.
brunch you were one of the founding members of Delta, I believe.
Well, I mean, I don't like to brag about that. I mean, obviously, I look a lot younger than I actually am.
John
Going
C.
on
Delta.
over probably 80 at this point.
Yeah. No,
but
you're doing great. Is it like Pilates or what?
John C.
It's what were you discussing? It's those peptides.
Oh,
yeah, that's what it
yeah.
is, right? Lots of just stuff I inject, right?
Tanner ones.
Yeah.
But
So,
but
hey,
for
what can
real,
do?
I mean, your military career, I mean, on paper sounds impressive, because it's probably impressive.
It was super fun. Yeah. So for people who don't know who I am, Nic McKinley, spent 11 years in the Air Force as a Air Force pararescueman. Right? So it's good to be, kind of back in San Antonio, where 30 years ago I basically got the crap kicked out of me.
How
for,
old are you?
For me?
Yes.
Oh, I'm 48.
Jesus.
Yeah,
All
so
right,
I'm
go
old,
ahead.
right? So I'm a pre-GWAT into GWAT vet, right? Then after the Air Force, I spent a couple years in the private equity community, learned to hate that real fast, and got recruited to the Central Intelligence Agency. Spent a number of years there. I'm not allowed to say the total amount because that's the rules, and the rules are stupid, but I still got to follow them. So yeah, I spent a number of years there, and then left 10 years ago to do a number of different things, started a bunch of tech companies, but really my passion has been fighting child trafficking and trying to create scalable solutions to that problem. And so that's the journey I've been on for the last 10
Bigger
years.
guillotines?
Bigger wood chipper.
Trying to just get them to the guillotines. Andy Stump was talking about it when I was on his podcast about guillotines are too fast, and I actually would agree with him. Wood chippers, way too fast. His idea,
That's why you do foot first.
but his idea, that's still too fast, man. His idea, which I really liked, was you just duct tape them to a chair, and you just go to work with a potato peeler, and you just keep going until there's nothing left. Right now, that's going to take a while.
It's a relaxing hobby, much like whittling.
Right. It's woodworking, kind of. Right. Just
A lot of
little bit
noise,
different.
though. Shut up.
You just have the noise canceling headphones playing like Enya.
This is the most happy
Orinoco flow, right? Or your freaking waterfall put you to sleep beats, right? As you just go to work on these people. I mean, reality is there's just really, really nasty people in this country. This is an American problem. It's happening to American kids, and someone had to start doing something about it. So I figured, why not me?
I don't think a lot of people realize when you say there's bad people, they cannot
Can't
wrap
come.
their head. Yeah,
No.
it's just like,
Evil.
oh no, they're bad.
Evil's the word.
Yeah, but they don't know that evil because they've never seen it in person. So they're like, it doesn't exist until you've done war.
This is like my definition. If I had to like describe evil to an alien that didn't understand the concept, it's how I would describe it. It'd be like, okay, you could be a bad guy, but if you were like a child getting kidnapped, you could run up to 99 out of 100 of the most gangbanger dude standing on a corner in Chicago with a Glock switch in his pocket, actively dealing drugs with 3 prostitutes that he's pimping out behind him. That guy's not my dad. That dude's probably going to help you. He's a bad guy, but he's not evil. Same thing with like a big jacked, scary biker dude with Hell's Angels across his shoulder. Like you can go to bad men in that situation and they'll still help you because they're bad, but they're not evil.
It's like prison. They get
Also,
fucked
another
up.
great example.
When you are in prison for around murders, and they're the pieces of shit, everyone's like, no, we're gonna take care of them. That's how bad that's evil.
Turns out a lot of bad guys have kids.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've got some stories about that we can get into as well. Some of the statistics around it. I mean, it's not a fun thing to constantly go talk about, right? I mean, a lot of people are like, "Oh, you're fighting human trafficking." I'm like, yeah, but I kind of wish I didn't have to. If you look at, I wish the problem hadn't gotten to this level, and it was really on our watch that it did get to this level. And I can talk about the way I started the whole organization, but if you think about it, I mean, we can kill people with flying robots from 6,000 miles away, but who's got the ball on the trafficking issue in America, right? So we have a the examples I like to use are like we have an ATF, Bureau of Alcohol, Tobacco, and Firearms. I know you're a huge fan.
Oh yeah,
and,
they're great.
And
can't think of a single thing they did wrong in any place, especially in Texas.
Yeah. And so we have a Bureau of Alcohol, Tobacco, and Firearms. All three of those things are legal. Last time I checked, firearms is actually a constitutionally protected right. And yet, who's got the ball on that issue? On the trafficking issue, where 100% of trafficking and human trafficking is illegal, but we don't have anybody who is centrally focused on that. We got great men and women in the FBI, Department of Homeland Security, state and local law enforcement, but where's our ATF for protecting our children? And it doesn't exist. And that was kind of the epiphany that I had when I was working at the CIA. And to kind of back up a little bit, I was actually in Lashkar-Gah, Afghanistan, and I was working with a JSOC counterpart, and we had, the best way to describe it is smoking gun intel on a trafficker that was selling across the Afghanistan-Pakistan border. And that's the kind of stuff like you join to do, right? And you join the military, you're like, man, I'm going to freaking go save babies from burning buildings and kill bad guys. Like, this is the most amazing job ever. And part of the reason why I went into Pararescue, right? It was a really good way to kind of always have a job regardless of what was going on. And intel doesn't work like the movies, believe it or not. Now this is going to shock your viewers, but Jason Bourne is not a follow documentary.
Liar. You're a liar.
Guy doesn't exist. And in fact, I think anybody who's worked at any high levels in the government can tell you there are individual units who are just absolutely amazing. And I'm incredibly honored to have been a part of the units I got to be part of. In fact, it just kind of goes to show that people do slip through the cracks and actually get through those processes. But at the end of the day, you're trying to do your best at the missions that are put in front of you. So what happens when you have a known trafficker put in front of you and the intel can't get to the right place because it's not even something that the government has a mandatory presidential reporting requirement on?
Have you seen the memes about that? Like how the movies portray Army intelligence? It's like, oh, he's going to be in this house behind the blue door. He's going to be in the corner, whatever, like real Army intel. Projected to be about 73 degrees today.
The moon will be out, but there will be some clouds.
The moon will be out.
You know, I mean, it's just...
This is all we're going off of?
Yeah. Yeah. And we think, I mean, just look
local
at
population predominantly Islamic.
Oh, yeah. You know?
3 mile per hour winds.
And they speak this language, right? Yeah, go for it. And we think he's here, but we don't know. Last time we saw him here was 3 months ago. Go for it, right? And it's just...
Here's a picture from his high school yearbook.
Yeah, you look at what happens in our country with all the different things that we care about, and basically I figured out when I was working at the agency that this is just not something our government truly cares about. Lots of politicians say all the right words, and I'd encourage anybody who knows any politicians, right, especially state and local, go to them and say, hey, do you care about the trafficking issue? And they're like, oh, yeah, absolutely. It's lots of wringing of hands. It's my most important issue, and it's my top priority and all that.
And then what did you do?
The very next question you should ask is, cool, show me the budget line item that funds your counter-human trafficking unit for your law enforcement. Because we forget that law enforcement, they're soldiers and generals, and they do what the politicians equip and train and fund them to do. And so it's not the police's fault. I mean, the police... You ask any law enforcement officer, I'm sure there are exceptions to this rule, but you ask any law enforcement officer and you say, hey, would you rather fight trafficking or pull over, tourists for going 10 miles an hour over the speed limit? They're going to pick the trafficking every single time, but they're forced and mandated to pull over the tourists who are doing 10 miles an hour over the speed limit.
We figured out how to tax window tint. We don't know how to tax yet.
Right.
Well, yeah, now not to skip to the end of the story too quick, but the $10 billion question is, why do you think that is?
Taxes.
So no, I think it's much simpler than people think. And I think there's two reasons. One is kids don't vote. And this disproportionately affects the marginalized in our society. And so the proxy here is the war on drugs. way before the Reagans came into office, there's a lot of inner city kids who are dying from drugs. Why did we suddenly get the war on drugs? Middle-class white girls started dying. That's why. And suddenly we have the war on drugs. So I think you're starting to see a little more of a groundswell on this issue, and people are starting to pay attention to it because it's starting to affect the middle class, right? The middle class and the wealthy. And we'll get into like how the internet plays a role in that.
Yeah, people are starting to call out the wealthy for doing it.
Right. That's the second reason. Look at who makes the rules. Look at who is in the Epstein files. Like, you want to know who the bad guys are, there you go. We literally have them in millions of pages of redacted documents. There have been more people arrested so far this year for selling unpasteurized milk than there have been held accountable for any association with Epstein.
Well, it's just like
that's just a statement of fact.
The meme going around for a while when they're talking about the charges being brought against Ghislaine Maxwell.
Mm-hmm.
They're saying, oh yeah, no, this is now the first person to ever be convicted of trafficking, despite having trafficked nobody to no one.
Right.
On
and
paper.
Just facilitated it.
On paper.
Right.
It's like, well, okay, so cool. So there were no clients and there were no victims. Yet you're still looking at this jail time.
Right.
Methinks something going on.
Yeah. There's something isn't the maths aren't mathing, right? So I think that ultimately comes down to those two reasons. I'm not saying all politicians are in on it. That's obviously not the case, but they don't care about it because those kids don't vote.
Well, and I think it also ties in, I've seen this not firsthand, but I've seen enough to see where this happens, is a lot of them are wealthy donors as well.
Yes.
So you have a lot of people that have put in, I contributed $100,000 to your PAC last election cycle. I'm sure that was helpful. By the way, yeah, I don't really know if that's a door you should be looking behind. That sort of implied strong arming. I could see that happening.
Well,
easily.
We know that happens. I mean, we have so many recorded incidents of that happening in other issues. Why wouldn't it be happening on this issue?
Yeah.
So that's ultimately kind of the reasons why I think we're in this predicament as a country right now, and it's also something that big tech is involved in as well, but they're just involved in looking the other direction. And we can get into kind of how all of that works as well.
Hey, you ever just wake up and felt like your mattress sucks and it beat your ass, punched you in the face?
That's crazy. Does the mattress also f your mom?
You ever wake up feeling like you slept in a swamp because of your disgusting, nasty ball sweat?
I see most of you on Reddit, so I know you have.
Time to break up with that mattress.
Get divorced from your mattress. Get a ghost bed.
That hoe.
You're worth more. You're so strong.
Well, guess what? GHOSTBED just launched their new mattress line.
It's designed to keep you cool, supported in all the right areas, if you catch my drift, you giant hog, and help you get sleep.
These beds are built with its patented cooling technology, Brandon.
So you can keep your giant hog cool.
Did you know they're built to last?
That's right, none of that drip in a year nonsense. Every mattress has a 20 or 25-year warranty. That means if I bought one today, it will outlive me before the warranty expires. I don't have much time left!
Especially with as much as you smoke.
Way to make it real, Brandon.
Plus 101 night sleep trial.
Don't love it? Send that shit back!
101 nights, that's 3 months risk-free.
They got the full setup!
Adjustable bases and pillows.
Buttery soft sheets. Buttery.
And even better, you can get 10% off site-wide when you go to ghostbed.com/unsubscribe and use code unsubscribe.
And that's on top of their everyday deals of mattresses, adjustable bases, and pillows already being up to 50% off. Come on, guys, what are we doing? Why aren't you going and using code unsubscribe?
Hey, go use code unsub.
What's happening? What's going on?
That's ghostbed.com/unsubscribe. Use code unsubscribe.
Sleep better.
Stay cooler.
This is a threat.
It was one of those things we got to see it. Zuckerberg came out last year and it's like, yeah, I was told I couldn't even do this stuff on his own social media platform for presenting information.
It was like the COVID stuff and everything like that.
And
like the
then
Biden administration had him purposely suppress things and then lie about it.
Well, it's crazy. You get to see across all of it. It's like, well, it doesn't happen. For years, everyone's like, no, they can't do that. That's not possible. Even talking with Darnell, he thought that was some weird conspiracy I had until we started getting affected by it. And he's like, holy shit, dude. Like, you guys just sound crazy when you talk about it a lot of the times. Then you start seeing it roll out, even how media presents, like the Rolling Stone on that, how they talked about you.
Oh, yeah.
And you're like,
I'm still not sure if I'm going to sue the shit out of them or not.
And that's
Because
crazy shit.
I don't think the word apparent means what they think it is. I think they thought it meant alleged. It does not. They said that after my opponent backed out in the primary because he got caught in a very serious scandal.
Right.
They said basically GOP lawmaker basically called him like a sexual. I'm like, yeah, that's pretty accurate. Steps down. Apparent neo-Nazi. This takes his place. I'm like,
Whoa.
yeah.
Okay.
Like, oh.
All right.
Which, I mean, it doesn't I don't think it holds any water because, we're used to them calling us fucking Nazis left and right all day long. But for a major publication to throw that slander at me using a word that I think they threw that out there thinking it meant alleged. It doesn't. I just feel like more people need to hold them accountable. It's like, you can't just lie. Like, you can say, we think this person does X, Y, and Z. Well, whatever, that's fine. That's your opinion. Mm-hmm. When you're informing millions of people, and you're delivering statements of fact that are provably, demonstrably not true, come on.
Well, maybe they're just going off of, I heard that you really hate veterans.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
despite
they wouldn't be the first.
Despite raising hundreds of thousands of dollars for them, right? I mean, that's how I would really project my hatred on somebody is by like helping them.
Yeah, it's like a kink.
Yeah, it's weird. That's cool.
yeah. Take that money, veterans. Ooh, I like it when you get help. It's like, I'm like, Brandon's weird.
You like that? You like that proper health care?
Yeah, you do. Dirty little veteran.
That's evolved quickly.
Yeah. Welcome to the podcast, brother.
I've said this before. The Epstein thing, broke your brain because I feel like it ruins anybody's ability to call bullshit on anything. Because before the Epstein Island thing came out, if anybody would have told you, yeah, there's an island where rich billionaires do what happened there, and you could just go, that's bullshit. And now it's like, oh, that was right. Now, maybe the earth is flat. I don't know, man. Like, anything's possible at this point.
Put another quarter in the Alex Jones was right jar.
Yeah, and then 2 years later, it turns out the frogs are gay, actually. Yeah, that also, by the way.
True statement.
Fuck.
Well, we'll go real quick. I want to go back to even becoming a PJ because, as you said, well, it's not that impressive. How many % actually make being a PJ?
My information is dated, so that's the big disclaimer. Just anything I say, just assume it's wrong. So when I went through, it was a 91% attrition rate. And there's a couple of reasons for that. And it's not me trying to say that PJs are better than anybody else or anything. But the reality is it's a water-based selection process. And anybody who's ever been through a water-based selection process will tell you that the pool is the great equalizer. It's like, oh, you're really smart. That's awesome. Get in the pool. Oh, you're fast? Sweet. Get in the pool. Oh, you're really strong? That's amazing. Get in the pool. Because every single mammal, when you put them underwater, starts reacting exactly the same way. And water-based selections essentially are, can you keep your brain under control and override that survival instinct in order to accomplish the mission? PJs take it a little bit farther in that when I went through, at least, if you passed out from a shallow water blackout in the pool,
Not drowning.
Drowning is like you're dead. So near drowning, right? You're fine. And so if you passed out, you got to do that one time because you didn't know what it felt like. So you couldn't have seen it coming. If you do it twice, you were out. And because Pararescue's general philosophy was, if you're not smart enough to save yourself, how can we trust you to go save other people?
So you have the option of going up for air. And
no, you don't have the option.
Oh, well, so what's the alternative?
The alternative is get better at accomplishing the mission before
learn how to not need oxygen more, nerd.
Yes, that's it. So it's
duh, Brandon.
It's
my bad.
Look at this retard.
Stupid.
What's wrong with you? Get back underwater. Yeah.
Just laughing underwater as he dies.
That was a veteran test that you did. Yeah. So we're also familiar that makes complete sense. Learn how to not need air. Exactly.
Yeah,
obviously.
I need to work harder at that.
come up for air, boot immediately on forehead. Oh no, you don't.
Yeah. But when I went through, at least, if you came up before, like you tied your knots or you did your ditch and dawn properly or something, like if you came up mid sequence that you were told to execute, that was considered quitting. And if you did that 3 times over the course of a 10-week selection process, I don't know how long the selection process is now. Apparently, if you've got a bunch of Instagram followers and you were a former Navy SEAL and you're 51 years old, we're going to go ahead and give you like an easy way now. Do you guys see David Goggins just enlisted in the Air Force?
I was wondering what you were going to think about.
Oh, yeah.
I was like, dude, that at that age. Also, you're like, oh, good job, but why?
Yeah. Anyway, well, because I mean, at the end of the
Recruiting.
day, the guy did become a SEAL, but sorry guys, he couldn't make the PJ standard. Just saying. No, I'm just kidding. I love them. I love my SEAL brothers.
I don't know now.
But anyway, the general thesis of pararescue selection, I think one of the reasons why it gets a little more, why the attrition rate tends to be a little bit long or harder is just because of the sheer amount of stuff that you're required to do. So if you make it through selection, right, that just means you made it through selection. Like you still got another 1.5 years plus to go through the whole pipeline. And the academics in the medical side are no joke. So you can't, like, we don't have the equivalent of a machine gunner in pararescue. Like every single person has to go through that SOCM program and has to get their civilian paramedic qualification, which they're doing it at a civilian hospital, which means they have to like not show up drunk. So every single one has to do that. So
Why'd you look at me?
No, not that. All I could think of was like, how many guys have gotten kicked out of the program for knocking up a nurse during that portion?
Yeah. I like that. That's exactly where your brain went. Because yes, that happens a lot. I mean, you're taking these guys, you're putting them in a civilian hospital, and
then the nurses
with
are
a bunch of with a bunch of other like paramedic and nursing students, and yeah, let's just say there's a lot of PJs that are married to doctors and nurses and people they met when they were during their paramedic school in Albuquerque, New Mexico. Yeah.
There's your average male nurse. Oh, by the way, there's these guys like abs working out.
There's these guys who like, graduated CBQC 6 months ago.
Here's Captain America that we just taught how to not come up for air for the past 9 weeks.
This guy underwater. This guy doesn't need to breathe. Guess what he can do with those skills?
Doesn't need to breathe. Winky face.
Anyway, that was the pararescue selection program here in San Antonio was awesome. And then you've got the whole pipeline, right? So you're doing like airborne school, like whatever, right? Super easy. SEER school, super easy. But then you get to things like
How I often hear it described.
Yes.
yeah.
SEER school.
I'm an Eagle Scout. So like SEER school for me was fun. I was like, I grew up in Montana. So like I thought SEER school was a blast. I also got to go in the spring, which is the absolute perfect weather up in Washington State. I mean, it was.
Oh, fuck yeah.
Yeah,
you were at Lewis?
No, yeah, Spokane.
Yep, Spokane,
so where
yep.
the SEER school is, right? So it was. It was awesome. So it was a camping trip. Really, it was super fun. And then, but like when I was at Halo school, is a great example. We had a couple of SEALs fail out of my Halo class. We had a.
Can I just, you did Halo where your training was on the fucking belly board? Like when you would do the...
that's when that's how you start is on belly board, and then you go into a...
Did they teach you
wind tunnel?
Okay, you had wind tunnels.
So you spend a week, back then at least, you spent a week at Bragg doing tunnel work and, learning how to pack your parachute and all that stuff. And then they ship you off to Yuma for a couple of weeks and then you do the free fall stuff.
Did the tunnel have the sides? I know there was a problem in Bragg. They had the wind tunnel, but no edges. So people would fly it off.
So when I went in, they had the nets up, but I'd heard about that. Yeah. It's like hey, maybe we should have thought this through a little bit.
Part of like the Paraclete place out there, or was that?
No, it's Bragg's had their own wind tunnel for probably, I don't know, decades.
Oh, no shit.
I've been out of it for a long time. And
no side and nothing to hold you in there. So you could
that was like the
launch
old school days.
There's nothing.
You better get good at it.
Yep. You're going to learn today.
Terrifying. Pain is a great teacher. No, in my day they had the nets up. And then obviously they had the big net over the fan, right? Because that would be a little
Death trap.
bad. That would really get the attrition rate up though.
Right? You couldn't fly.
Yeah.
I was just going to say, where you were talking about like the attrition rate being so high because of the pool. I'm like, yes, defective scuba equipment.
No. Yeah. Well, they purposely make your scuba equipment defective, right? Because you're supposed to get through that. So I went through CDQC, which is the Army's combat diver qualification course, because the Air Force, I understand, has its own combat dive course in conjunction with the Marine Corps now, I believe.
I'm curious why the Air Force would have a diving qualification, a combat diving qualification.
For Pararescue and combat control. So back in the day, combat control went through that too. So, you get done with selection, and selection was so much harder than dive school that dive school became pretty easy. But when I was at dive school is another good example. There were, Rangers, SF dudes. We had a CAG guy there with us, and you got Rangers failing out, SF guys failing out. Those Rangers go back to their unit. Granted, they're going to get razzed and harassed a little bit, but everybody knows it's really hard. Same thing with the SF guys. If you're a PJ student and you fail that, you're out of the program. Like, you don't get to be a PJ. If you're a PJ student and you don't make it through Halo school, for stupid reasons, you don't get to be a PJ. And so, and that's part of the reason why the pipeline is so long, is because, that's a lot of opportunities to fail, right?
Those are rare ass schools in general. Like that, you usually do Halo or combat diver.
Yeah.
You don't have both.
Yeah, but he's got to be.
Some guys do.
But for Army. So sorry,
yeah.
this comes from. It's a rare thing to see. Holy shit! Even the Sergeant Major during the Pentagon episode, that's when he sat down. I was like, holy shit, homie, you went to all the schools. He was
stacked.
Yeah, he was like third bat, did everything,
Yeah.
and then everything.
And I think pre 9/11, that was a lot more rare. I think post 9/11, there's a lot more people who go through a lot of those different schools, because at the end of the day, you don't know what your mission is, like what the mission set is going to be, right? This isn't the Cold War. This isn't near peer for the most part. I mean, who knows? I might start any day now, but for the most part, it hasn't been near peer wars.
People in mud huts could be anywhere.
Yeah. So you really have to be ready for anything. And so for PJs, PJs are attached with CAG, with DAMNEC, with various ODAs, various SEAL teams, Ranger Battalion. I mean, they're all over the place doing civilian rescues. And so you have to be able to, like, if you're with the SEALs and the SEALs are diving in, well, then you're diving in. If you're with an ODA and they're jumping in, then you're jumping in, right? You've got to be able to facilitate whoever it is that you're with. And then also you look at what just happened in Iran, right? You no doubt saw the video going around the internet with the C-130 that was gassing up those two H-60s, right? The rescue birds. So you've got a team of PJs in the back of that 130, and you got a team of PJs, and who knows, they probably have combat rescues officers with them now, or maybe a combat controller. I don't know what their current package is, but in each one of those birds. And so if the person that they need to go after is far enough in front of where the helos can get to, like let's say there's a 2-hour delay between the 130 getting on station and the 60s getting on station, well, 2 hours is life and death. And so PJs and the 130 will free fall out and go to, go to work. And then the 60s will come in later and pick them up. But if they don't need to free fall out, well, then they'll bring in the 60s, right? Because it's like on top of a mountain or something. So you just have to be able to do everything, which is why that career field is so freaking cool, right? We don't have radio guys. We are the radio guys. We are the medics. PJs don't, at least in my day, we didn't have like snipers, heavy breachers, things like that, because that's not our job. I think there's a little bit of that happening now, but you kind of had to be able to solve any problem that was thrown in front of you. We're the high angle rescue, right? Vertical rope access experts. So that was a lot of fun because you're just constantly training, because it was a lot of work to stay up on top of all those qualifications. So
It's insane.
I think pararescue is probably one of the I wouldn't say most misunderstood career fields, but it's definitely one of the quietest, I think, and least known within the special operations community.
Hold up! I'll hit you with my frying pan. Yes, that's right. We are now sponsored by HEXCLAD. We were actually super stoked for this because I've let them cook. So they gave me a wok. They gave me an Asian wok. Gentlemen's and 3 ladies. Mother's Day's around the corner, but instead of flowers, which you should also do, actually, I don't know how that sounds. Babe, I got you pans, but very nice pans. I think they'll love them. And chances are the pots and pans you are using aren't the best. Now, my least favorite part is sticky pans. Just hate it. But usually if it's easy to clean, then it suffers with performance. But HEXCLAD gives you both. I cannot stress how hot they get. They're oven safe to over 900 degrees. They're not gonna melt. The wok is chef's kiss. And they have over 1 million customers with 50,000 5-star reviews. That is a lot. And just like our shoes, these come with a lifetime warranty. That means they actually care about their customer. That is literally how I always dictate if a company cares about you or not. Lifetime warranties. Awesome. HEXCLAD's 12-piece set is the ultimate all-in-one cookware upgrade. And they have their patented hexagonal laser-etched steel ridge boost for searing. For a very limited time only, shop the HEXCLAD's Mother Day sale for up to 49% off site-wide and score big savings with their best-selling sets at hexclad.com/unsub. Support our show and check them out at HEXCLAD, HEXCLAD.com/unsub. UNSUB, just in case. This thing you said, oh, all of us have to get this level of training on the medical side. Special Forces teams, you have Delta,
Yeah,
18
you got
Delta.
that 18 Delta.
That's the hard one. That's the shit you're going to school for a year and a half.
And they're
2
great
years.
medics. Yeah, they're really good.
But that's every one of you have to
Everyone.
do that.
Yeah.
That's what's wild. That is one of multiple jobs in Special Forces, because it's like, oh, you're going to be gunner. So like, I think it's like 18 Bravo. You're specifically focused on the firearms, and then demo, go down the line. It's like, oh, you're learning all those schools.
Yeah.
That's it. Sorry.
Yeah. And now you're in a 4-man PJ team. And oh, by the way, a week ago you got handed a Barrett, and they're like, oh yeah, we're going to send you to this school. You're going to learn how to shoot this thing. And now you got to figure out how to free fall that sucker out of the back of the aircraft.
Yeah,
right. It's
yeah,
just like,
good luck.
okay, like it's in some ways the CSAR missions, it appears that PJs get a little over their skis, but they're not. And you saw this with that Iran rescue, because when the PJs are going to work for a combat search and rescue mission, that is the mission, right? And so all of the U.S. government wraps around that. So you might just see a couple of helicopters, one C-130, couple dudes on the ground, but there might be 70 aircraft on station. Right.
I'm glad you brought that up, because that was exactly what I was about to ask, is that new Iran mission where they were rescuing the pilot. And we talked about that a little bit earlier with that chick leaking the details from the Pentagon. But yeah, because that would have been PJs then, right? With a bunch of support.
So it was PJs. My understanding is it was our there's a tier 1 PJ team, often referred to as the Hill, 24th STS. Or I don't know what they call themselves these days. That's what they called themselves back in the day.
It's still cool hearing, because we've all been associated with them. That's the first time I've ever heard of the Hill. Because you're like Delta, Dev, like depending on what their names are, the Hill. So that's their tier 1.
So that's tier 1
6.
PJs and combat controllers. So if you look at like Bin Laden raid, allegedly a couple PJs embedded with Damnek. You look at the al-Baghdadi raid, allegedly a couple of PJs embedded with the JSOC elements. And so
I had buddies on that.
yeah, the one that this rescue that just happened, I think everybody knows it was, Damnek was helping with the CIA ruse, and CAG was really, dude, they freaking basically assaulted a mountain as if it was a freaking urban objective. I was unprepared for this level of FOMO. right? I mean, I'm just completely unprepared. Like I'm looking at that, I'm like, I'm freaking 48 years old. Like, do I still got it? Nah, I don't got it. but man, talk about the mission of a freaking lifetime, right? And they, but yeah, it was, there's a PJ team, right? And then you've got essentially we call it SAR security, right? So it's your search and rescue security. So you've got your, in this case, a bunch of JSOC operators, and that's kind of the way it works. But with the leak, you know, if the leak hadn't happened, and I don't have any special like knowledge or anything, but just knowing the way that it works, if the leak hadn't happened, then most likely you wouldn't have needed that size of a force. I mean, most of the time, PJs can get in and out pretty stinking fast, right? And the one thing that I don't think people understand about the Air Force CSAR pilots is like that's all they do. So PJs will be on assaults. We're on all kinds of, I mean, PJs are into kind of all kinds of different stuff. Sometimes they're bored out of their mind. Sometimes they're just working so hard, like they don't know which end is up. But those CSAR pilots, that's all they train for. All day, every day is combat search and rescue. The A-10 Sandy pilots, a Sandy qualification for an A-10 is one of your highest pilot qualifications. And that is those pilots are amazing. The way that they can come in and essentially protect, a team of PJs on the ground and protect those helicopters. And then you've also got fast movers up there, right? F-15s, F-16s, whatever they are, that are then protecting the A-10s. So you just got these layers and layers of security, and also that a couple of dudes on the ground can get to their objective and accomplish their mission. So it's pretty cool, and it's really a feather in the hat of America.
And then you have the retards on Twitter insisting that all of that displays America's weakness because they would go through all of that to save a man on the ground. What a waste of funding. No, you.
The one guy reply on Twitter, he's like, and the amount of Europeans who cannot fathom why we would do all of this to save one of our guys proves that you cannot be made American by a piece of paper.
Thank you. It's and not only that, but like really, like you're so calloused about the life of the life of a father, a husband, a son. I mean, a fellow human, that you're looking at it as a price tag.
Yeah.
But maybe that's also why we win every war that we go into. Right? Maybe that's why our people are like willing to actually take chances, is because they know that for the most part, the government's got their back.
And that's the way that it should be, not the way it always is. We fall short of it quite a lot. But the idea is when you sign on the dotted line, to serve your country and protect your country, it's bilateral. That should be going both ways. It's like the military should be there to help. Like if you are going to be that person, they're going to at least try to help you as much as they can too.
Yeah. And also the idiots on Twitter looking at it like it's a price tag. It's like, okay, like let's just look at the geopolitical chess game. You think that guy was a little bit valuable, right? Think the Iranians would have used him as a negotiation chit, maybe?
Think they're thinking about that?
Yeah, I mean, come on.
But going back to, just in case people in the audience haven't been following this one in particular, when you brought up the leak, referencing there was apparently somebody within the Pentagon who leaked the information that we still had not rescued the second pilot.
Right.
The Iranians thought that we did.
Right.
They had no idea that there was still a pilot that was MIA. So that leak to the media is what alerted the Iranian government that there was still a pilot there in play.
Yeah.
And which is why we had to do such a big operation.
It's wild to even.
Yeah, it's wild to think about, but also like you're telling me you don't have like serious FOMO. That like, wait a minute, like you've got thousands of Baji militia and you've got IRGC and they're basically all funneling into one location, and you've got probably hundreds of aircraft on station and more I mean, come on.
I didn't even think about that. You're about it. Shit.
Come on.
It is the fun times.
I'm sitting there working on a patient. Like, I hope somebody shoots at me right now just so I can see him get lit up.
Because that's one of those times in it where they're not going to ask questions. You get to ask and shoot what you want, and there is no paperwork at the end of that
there's
mission.
no shooter statements like that. And what would be?
I didn't even think about that.
Oh, dude, come on.
Well, we had, when the guys came back, they went my guys deployed again 2 years later. Surge is done. I mean, it's like cooking down. But they had one gunfight, and they're like, dude, we had to do paperwork. I was like, I didn't understand. He's like, why? I'm like, well, we got engaged and all this happened, but we had to write who shot how much, where they were. It was dumb as shit.
Yeah.
15 months, not as, and we went through a lot of ammo. 18
What year was that?
2007.
When you went through
2007.
that. Yeah, okay,
So it
yeah.
was the surge in Baghdad
Yeah,
and Bakuba and Moqtadia. So we would, I mean, I've said it before, we would go on these 24-hour OPs, and Sergeant would be like, hey, just remember, AT-4 is way lighter if you shoot it. So we would initiate ambushes with the AT-4s just so we'd have to carry shit back.
recon by fire.
Yeah, dude, we were like, oh,
It works.
Go.
It works. Yeah, it works.
And then paperwork.
I need more AT-4s. Why? The enemy doesn't have tanks. Yeah, but I have AT-4s. Yeah, but
I need to get rid of these AT-4s. These suckers are heavy.
what part of bazooka didn't you hear?
They weigh a lot.
What part of because I can did you not hear? Yeah. I mean, it's
God, in that big mission, that was all that. They're like, you're just dropping J-dams probably. But,
oh, dude. Yeah. I mean, so bottom line, though, we got him back. And I think that between, if you look at like the Maduro rescue and then this rescue, or not the Maduro rescue, shall we say, we rescued we rescued him from the country of Venezuela.
We rescued him from
our princess.
We rescued him from his position of power.
That's right.
Nothing glorifies communism like saying our president.
Yes, we rescued him back to
so.
capitalism. Really, is what we did. I mean, it's he
Quit being an asshole. Here's some Starbucks.
He really should be thanking us. And so
Here's a Jocko origin hoodie.
Yeah.
Pose for the picture.
made in America.
Do
You're
the
welcome.
double thumbs up.
We're also rescuing a lot of their oil.
Well, we rescued it. We liberated it.
Yeah.
We didn't rescue it. We liberated it.
True.
Right?
Yep. A lot of it. Hey.
But you look at these military operations that the military has done, and regardless of anybody's political beliefs about whether or not we should have been in the war, or we should have gone after Maduro or any of that, but just the sheer
It's like
the
looking at
capacity of the U.S. military to just execute and get things done is unbelievable.
I got some shit for that because I was just saying that, like, look, I mean, like, I typically tend way more toward the non-intervention side. Like, I'm not stating whether or not we should or should not have been involved. I'm just saying we're kicking ass. And I said it on, I think it was Benny Johnson's show where I had that clip where I'm just saying, like, look, for all these like little Reddit kids that, you know, oh, America's getting steamrolled by Iran. It's like, on what fucking metric? And I brought up, like, yeah, like, we've lost 13 Americans, which is 13 too many. Like, you know, any American dead is a horrible thing. But I mean, theirs is in the thousands. Like, oh, well, you don't win wars on KD. I'm like, well, A, you kind of do.
You could.
And B, it's not just that, but also their air defense is crippled. We sank their entire Navy this time. It's like, by any metric, we're steamrolling
with these
that
people,
country.
though, like with those people, like they'll never admit America wins anything. There's only two options to them. It's either America's losing or America's committing war crimes.
Yeah.
The amount of people that are like, war is happening. That's a war crime. You can't have war ever since we decided war is illegal. Like, shut up.
It's the same people with stolen land. You mean every place in the world?
Bridges aren't a valid military target.
They've been
Says what? That disproves all of history since we invented bridges. Like,
since we were a country, that's been a target.
Since we started actually writing things down, we talked about how it's important to take away the ability or the enemy's ability to mobilize and move from one side of the of their plot of land to the other. I mean,
Like, say you can't destroy the moat. Oh, whoa.
those are sacred moats.
Yeah, that is a sacred bridge that crosses that dickhead move.
yeah. So anyway, that was how we get down that rabbit hole. That was
Welcome to Unsubscribe.
like
Welcome.
I mean, like, war crimes weren't even really a
Jada
thing.
war crimes.
War crimes weren't really even a thing until the Germans started using gas, and then we're all like, oh, we should probably write down some rules.
Which is also wild to think about.
It's wild to think about, but at the same time, like, you've got all these people talking about, well, in international law, say that's against international law. Says freaking who? Show me the international law. Like I did 30 combat deployments and never once did I see an international law. And not only that, but I promise you in those 30 combat deployments, I freaking broke the international law. Go ahead and send the international police to my house in Montana.
They
see how that works out for them.
They say
I am the international lawyer.
They say it with the authority like Judge Dredd is going to fucking superhero drop out of the sky and bring you to justice. It's like, well, Australia just arrested their most decorated soldier.
What?
But that's Australia.
Australia arrested the most decorated soldier.
SAS guy.
SAS guy arrested him for war crimes that he allegedly did 12 years ago with no forensic evidence, no anything other
they straight
than...
up arrested, though?
No, he's in custody right now. And he's going to have to go through court and prove that he didn't do something they have no
Eli just
evidence
got-
for 12 years ago.
He just got real nervous.
Yeah.
Wait a minute, you can go back there still?
It's going to be real. Eli's going to be very, very selective on what stories he tells on the podcast from here on. What were we saying earlier? Well, I didn't, but my buddy, I watched it happen.
I heard of a guy who
Allegedly.
yeah,
That's crazy, though.
international law. Don't get me started on that.
In Minecraft.
Yeah.
Well, even Geneva Convention, like, depending on your AO, it just switches. And then you're just going off of what somebody says.
Well,
That's all we went off of. I didn't know. I was a soldier.
The ROI changes. The Geneva Convention.
No,
does.
sorry. Yeah, that's the ROI rules of engagement change.
But it
is
also
it,
depends
Geneva
on
Convention?
it depends on what title you're under too, because I was in Afghanistan and one of our Indige took a couple of rounds to the chest on a target, and so we get him back to the FOB via ground. There just so happened to be a male bird landing at the same time. So I sent my dudes out there. I was like, hey, like, freaking get all the mail off that thing. Like, that is now a medevac bird. And we're taking him to the roll 3. And so me and this 18 Delta and this Canadian version of an 18 Delta, we freaking scoop him up, throw him in the back of the bird, and I grab an interpreter. And this little Afghan, I mean, these Afghans are not huge people. Like, they're very, very tiny people for the most part. And so I had given him a fentanyl lollipop, but it's a fentanyl lollipop that I would like give one of you guys, right? So it's just fentanyl in an actual like sucker, like a lollipop.
Why would you give us that?
It's
for fun.
Pain medication.
Pain meds.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I was so confused.
You literally
because it's party time, man. That's
I was
why.
like, you just like, hey,
crack some
buddy,
chem
not
lights
telling
and-
me. I'm like,
No, like literally, it's like somebody's fucked up. You like tape it to their finger,
Yeah.
and then once they pass out from the fentanyl, their arm drops and the lollipop comes out, so
Yeah.
they don't OD.
It's
It's been a great
works-
time on the Unsubscribe podcast.
he brought us all and doesn't tell us. We're just like,
Hey, those go pills I gave you earlier. Yeah.
Oh,
This is
shit.
about to get real fun.
Brandon, do you need not
One more time. You got this, buddy.
Brandon, can you Brandon, do you
Almost there, bud.
Brandon, where do you store your firearms?
All over my house, in every fucking crevice.
Well, do I have the product for you, Nick? Show 'em.
Here, hand it to me, Brandon, so I can show you. Brandon, this is STOPBOX.
STOPBOX.
We love box.
You're selling me.
What's in the box?
You have to open it and find out.
All right, well, let's see if I can do this. Oh, wow. Look at that.
Oh, it
That
didn't
was
stop
easy.
you.
Can I hide my goop in that?
You can hide your goop in that, Cody. Cody, do you know why I love this thing?
Why?
Why?
Why, God, why?
Because you don't have to use keys.
Gun not included.
Cody, you've got multiple cats in your house, including Squirt, who's quite the scrapper. Mm-hmm. Would you want Squirt to have access to your firearms?
No, he's violent.
Well, then STOPBOX is the perfect product for you. No cat's getting inside that.
Or people without thumbs. The nice part is it is actually TSA compliant.
I didn't actually know that part until a couple months ago. That is actually really cool. You just put a little lock through there.
Exactly.
When you're checking a pistol or any gun, if there's a hole that a lock can go through on whatever you're checking your gun in, you have to put a lock through that. This has one hole, so you just need one lock, easily accessible once you land on the ground.
I know you're not normally a one-hole kind of guy, but this is definitely an exception to the rule.
And never worry about tariffs because everything is sourced right here in the USA.
Wait, what are tariffs?
Like, I'm pretty sure I shot a few of them.
For a limited time only, get 10% off your entire order if you use code unsubscribe at checkout.
And right now, if you buy one STOPBOX, you're going to get another STOPBOX free. So that's 10% off plus buy one, get one free when you use code unsub at checkout.
That's StopBoxUSA.com.
Discover a better way to balance security and readiness with StopBox.
StopBoxUSA.com. Use code unsubscribe.
But yeah, they give him this fentanyl lollipop, and he's this Afghan starts ODing, right? And so I pull it out, and then anytime for you street paramedics, don't take this advice. Military medics, this works really well because you don't have to worry about getting sued. So you hit the pain button, right? So you have a patient who starts kind of narking out on you. You just freaking whatever's causing pain, you just make it cause a little more pain, and they will start breathing again, right? And so the interpreter is looking at me like, you sadistic freaking crazy person, right?
You're
so I keep
torturing him,
putting my thumb in this guy's bullet hole to get him to kind of come back a little bit. And he had 2 holes. He had a hole here, a hole down here, a hole here, and then the other one, I'm trying to remember, it was like right up here, right by his neck. And so I was like, oh man, this guy and his vitals, he was just like cool as a cucumber, right? Pulse was still under 100. He was still breathing relatively normal. And normally when you see people with holes in this area, like that's real bad. And then when you see somebody who's kind of a smaller human, like this is the problem with like pediatrics and stuff. You see somebody who like appears to be fine and they have holes in this area, then you get real nervous because they just fall off a cliff and die fast, where bigger people tend to die slower, and you can kind of see it coming. So we get to the rule 3, and I'm trying to pass this patient off to the doctors, and I'm in civilian clothes because I'm working for the agency, right? And I got, I look like maybe I know what I'm doing, but I'm in civilian clothes and no identifiers on me. And we just had a freaking Russian aircraft land and start bringing this thing in. And these Navy Shore Patrol guys, like the Navy cops who are guarding the roll 3, apparently they're like, because I wasn't a member of the military, I couldn't bring weapons in. So they're telling me, I'm trying to like talk to the doctors, and I'm thinking this guy is going to die on me. It turned out he was just fine. But I'm nervous, and my job, the way I looked at it, was like, I gave him to you alive. Anything that happened after that is your fault. So I'm trying to make sure that this handoff happens very quickly. And and the Shore Patrol guys are like, telling me I can't go in. And so finally I just handed him my .416. I handed my Glock, and I was like, they're loaded. And I went inside and I just gave him my guns. And I'm in there, I'm talking to the radiologist because they, were working this guy up. And the Shore Patrol guys come in, and they said, sir, you have to come with us. I'm like, oh, like, for why? And the agency boss there is with me because he's trying to all he knows is that some of us are landing, and he just needs to be there to kind of help us out. So the boss of that base was there, and the Shore Patrol guys go, well, sir, we have to put you in the brig for 24 hours. Oh. And I was like, again, why? Like, well, you have non-NATO ammunition in your gun. Because they unloaded my Glock, and I had some specialized ammunition in there that had been given to me by the U.S. government. And in my .416, I had some specialized ammunition that had been given to me by the U.S. government that is technically, from what I understand, allegedly against the Geneva Conventions.
Which is stupid because I know what ammunition you're talking about. Sorry,
you probably do, because I promise you know more about this actual.
Is it great?
Yeah. I'm going to go on a limb and say he's talking about hollow points.
Great tip.
For a 9mm, that would be it, and for something different in the
probably 55A1, like the great tungsten tip shit.
No, that stuff is terrible.
Yeah, I was going to say
it's so bad. It's like freaking sewing needles going
hollow
through people.
Points in particular are against are a
shall
war
we say
crime.
expanding ammunition?
Expanding ammunition because it actually falls under fracturing ammunition, which is military agreement that predates the Geneva Convention. It's from like the 1800s. It's like Civil War era.
I promise you, the lawyers in the military don't even know this stuff.
That's when they were using exploding ammunition. So musket balls that would fucking miniature cannonballs that would detonate inside of a person.
That sounds
were
cool.
too brutal. And they're like, oh,
Give me that.
It expands. Oh, that's very similar. And it's like, no, hollow points are not even arguably, they're factually safer.
Yes.
Because a hollow point is
less over penetration
I want to
issues.
shoot Brandon, hypothetically. I don't want to shoot
buddy.
the person behind him. You know what I mean? I want the bullet to stop in the guy that I mean for it to stop in. Like hollow point ammunition is safer by any metric you can
It
get.
also
penetration
tends
through
to
walls and shit
stop
like
the
that.
individual
More effectively.
much more effectively.
Yeah.
A lot of people don't realize that. It is, hey, you don't want a fucking Full Metal Jacket clearing a house because that is just going that.
Yeah. The
everything.
tungsten stuff, bad news.
Even in Kyle Rittenhouse's court case, like I watched a lot of it, and one of the points they brought up is that Kyle Rittenhouse was using Full Metal Jacket ammunition in his gun, and they were trying to say that he did that on purpose with the intent of trying to shoot through people, and they were asking him why he didn't use hollow points.
Because he was 17 and broke.
Not only that, I've never even I've been around a lot of guns. I know they exist, but I've never even seen in person hollow point 5.56 ammunition.
A lot of times with 5.56 and like rifle rounds like that,
yeah.
they use like
I mean, I've never
ballistic
fucking looked
tip.
for it. Like,
Well, they use like ballistic tip, so it's like a little red tip where it's like polymer or whatever that just like fills that so it's still ballistically stable.
but it's like, but I remember watching it and I was like, oh my God, please say you didn't carry it because that's a war crime. Because he would have been factually correct and it would have been just devastating to the other person's case. Sir, I can't do that. That's a war crime. Would have been hilarious.
It's against the Geneva Convention, sir.
Yeah.
Well, and also there's ammunition. You want your ammunition to be barrier blind, right? Because you need to sometimes shoot through things, and you don't want that bullet to disintegrate when it gets to the other side of the thing, right? And so now you're just shooting powder at somebody, and so anyway, so I have this ammunition, and they're like, oh no, it's immediate 24 hours in the brig, and so the agency boss one of the
For what? Like until they could get somebody out there, or is that just like the
I don't
penalty?
know. That's just what they told me, and I was like, yeah, that's not going to happen, man. And so these guys are like looking at each other, just like what do we do?
You just said no.
Yeah.
We've never had this before.
And so the agency,
They're like Zach Galifianakis with like the fucking numbers going by his head, like, oh,
Never
oh,
had
what do we, I was
anyone
like,
say
yeah,
that.
that's not going to happen. And then at the same time, they tried to put our Indige guy, who is a like super secret Indige guy, in with the other Afghans, like military Indige, who had gotten hurt. And I'm like, yeah, that also is not going to happen. Like he's going in with the Americans, and he's going to be like, his identity is going to be protected and all that. And so one of the cool things about the agency, there's drawbacks to the military, and there's cool things about the military. There's drawbacks to the agency, and there's cool things about the agency. And one of the cool things about the agency is at the end of the day, you work for one person, the President of the United States. And holy smokes, the phone calls that you can make. And so the agency base commander who's there, he looks at these shore patrol guys, and they're just like staring at me. Like they don't know what to say. And these like poor dudes, like these are like enlisted like E2s, right? They're on the crap shift in the middle of the night. Like you got to feel kind of bad for these guys.
You're 19, you're 40, you're 30.
Yeah, I was probably 32, 33 years old.
Here's some handcuffs. Do you want to put them on?
Yeah. No? And they're just like, they have no idea what to do. And agency boss comes over and he's like, what's going on? I was like, well, so here's the situation. And they're just like nodding, like, yes, that's what we told him. And the agency boss is like, yeah, F no, that's not going to happen. And he walks out to get a cell phone signal, comes back in about 3 minutes later, and he's like, hey, you guys should be hearing something on your radios pretty soon. And sure enough, it was like, would, so-and-so and so-and-so please report to the, their like talk thing. And that was all around freaking, because I didn't have the proper ammunition in my weapon. And you've got these freaking lawyers who sit in the air conditioning and create rules for the people who are actually on the field. In fact, I got into this big argument with an agency lawyer because he said we couldn't have frag grenades because he said they were offensive weapons.
What?
But yeah, which I was like, well, that's really interesting.
What if I need
because,
to defend myself against a lot of bad guys?
well, every single military manual says that a frag grenade is a defensive weapon. You know what is classified as offensive? Flashbangs. Could carry those
No
all day long.
shit.
Yeah, could carry those all day long.
I did not
They
know
also
that.
said that we could carry a 40 millimeter grenade launcher, right? With like HEDP grenades, because that was a defensive weapons, but frag grenades were offensive.
It's offensive for something, a grenade in throwing distance, but it's
Right.
defensive for one.
If you can
in
shoot at 300 meters,
fucking-
go for it. Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, that and that's one of the big problems that we have in warfighting today is we have a bunch of lawyers who aren't on the field. They're not doing the work. Like you did combat time. Did you ever see a lawyer on the field? I never did. And I never realized, like when I was in the military, how much freaking pull these idiots have with different commanders and, administrations and things like that. It wasn't until I got to the agency where now you're like kind of at the top of the stack when you're in a country that I was like, oh man, like I constantly have to check with the lawyers in order to figure out like what I can do today, under what title authority I'm working under. This sucks.
I love how you keep saying lawyer like it's a slur.
It is a slur.
Lawyer.
Well, I mean, there's great lawyers, obviously. Like I like my lawyers, and I like there's a lot of incredible prosecutors in this country who are doing amazing work. We work with them a lot on the human trafficking stuff. They love our data because so far in the last 11 years, we've had 100% conviction rate on every single case we've been involved in that have gone to court.
Holy shit.
That's thousands of cases. And the reason why is because the data is so binary. It's just a statement of fact. It either is or is not true. And so there's great prosecutors, but lawyers who like are trying to make rules for other people, right? And they're not actively part, or they don't have the consequences of the rules that they're making. Like I legitimately have a problem with that.
If you've never been in a gunfight, shut the f up. Like that's if you've never been on the
I
ground.
don't even care if
watch
you
anything.
haven't been in one. If you're not willing to even put yourself in the position to be in one,
Well, and that's the
maybe
thing. Talk to individuals that do experience it and be like, you know what? How does this rule sound? I would present that to from lower enlisted to soft. It's like, hey, what do you guys think of these rules?
and that's why you would be a terrible lawyer.
I know.
I hate the people on the internet. Like, there's obviously like, torturing somebody, I guess, like war crime, whatever, like obviously, but like in situations where it's
Or
like,
whatever.
So annoying.
yeah, but like where it's something where like somebody drew a gun and somebody shot. And it's like, now this dude's facing prison because he couldn't make the decision in half a second to know what the exact laws were,
Right.
to be able to execute them on the fly when it's going to take 17 lawyers 6 months to figure out if he violated the law or not. But he was supposed to know that in half a second.
That's a great point.
Is insane.
Yeah.
I never looked at it like that.
You know what I mean? It's like it takes 17 legal experts to analyze this and decide whether or not he broke the law, but he's up for punishment for it because he couldn't do the same thing 17 lawyers couldn't do in 6 months in half a second.
Yeah, it's a multi-billion-dollar Monday morning quarterbacking industry.
Like, it's insane to me.
I never looked at it that way.
Well, what's interesting about the military is the military member obviously can't refuse a shooter statement. CIA, you can. Oh. They're like, we need you to write this down. No.
You can just do that?
Yeah.
Nice.
That's what's great. Like,
Because when you're a member of the military, people don't realize like you are the defender of the Constitution. You are not subject to it. Right? You are in any of the civilian agencies, you are subject to the Constitution for the first time. So you can be like, no, I'm not doing that. No, I'm not doing that. Yeah.
damn.
Eli's jealous.
It's like, oh, dang it.
Well,
I have
just,
the right to remain silent.
Yeah.
It's just different. Like you get to hear.
I have the right to not self-incriminate, more importantly.
Hey, on Baghdad initially, it was unless they shoot at you, you cannot engage. They
Insane.
can aim their guns, you can do that.
Yeah.
And there was some very strict. They're like, hey, they can point their guns at you unless they shoot at you guys. You can't do anything. And then when we went to Moqdiyah, I always compare that drive. It was like 40 minutes northeast near Iran border to in Iraq from Baghdad.
Different server.
Yeah.
It looked like different. It looked like the
Metro 3.
It was a different server. It was like
Metro 3000 tickets.
yeah. I was like, we're driving up this road, the main MSR, and it looks like the moon because it's just ID holes. Everyone like, and then they're like, oh hey, if they have a cell phone and are recording, you engage them. We're like,
Yeah.
whoa, these rules have changed.
Or a shovel.
Dressed.
There was a time when it was a shovel.
Oh, dude.
Or
100%.
military-age male with a weapon. Could be a handgun in a holster.
Dude,
Military-age male with a weapon, game on.
They could do this and then, yep. So they stopped doing anything with these.
Yeah.
Like real quick. So we had that opposite end. Baghdad was bad. We lost, I think, like 8 guys in Baghdad, and then we lost the other 8 there. But just that wild
How'd the other
transformation.
team make out on both of those?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Dude, the rules just changed.
The local T-Mobile went out of business. Like, it was bad. It was.
Just never changed. They would not pull their phones out. They were just like, no, dog, I ain't answering this shit. Like, cool, okay.
Mom,
See,
don't call me now.
They can be trained.
What'd you call it at lunch? Forced respect.
Yeah, exactly. What was it? You're like, oh yeah, people should have a healthy amount of fear for like their law enforcement at that degree. Like, well, no, fear sounds bad. Like forced respect.
Forced respect.
I feel like
I like
that's,
that. It's a better way of putting it. You'll be a great politician.
Yeah, gangbangers should have that sort of forced respect.
Yeah, for sure.
It's a good band name.
Forced respect.
Sorry.
Yeah. It'd be the next metal band.
Feel it,
Oh my God, it's the perfect jeans.
right?
I can leave.
Brandon, feel it.
Get on his shoulders.
Up here, big boy.
Try the perfect jeans out as earmuffs.
Brandon, how perfect are they?
Feels like the perfect jeans.
They're so flexible.
I'm fat. I can actually do squats in them. Usually it's an issue. I'm not kidding.
I'm picturing you doing squats in the gym with these jeans.
I could.
Dude, they are like.
Eli's just mogging on the audience right now.
Finn, make my dick talk.
자러 가야겠다. 네가 늦게 왔잖아.
Now you're watching the ad, and pants season is almost here.
It's always pants season if you're an adult.
It's August in Texas. We're all wearing jeans.
The perfect jeans.
That's right. Today we're talking about the perfect jean.
Brandon, how'd my jeans feel on your neck?
Feels like I need to talk to HR.
But they were comfortable, right?
Absolutely.
This brand,
The perfect jean?
it's actually perfect. It's real denim, but not the heavy stuff.
I just like how they finally say that we can say F your khakis, which works great pretty much everywhere except for Boston, I'm sure.
Just means the valet is quitting. For a limited time, our listeners get 15% off their first order plus free shipping at theperfectjean.nyc.
Or Google the perfect jean and use code UNSUB15 to get 15% off.
It's finally time to stop crushing your balls and wear comfortable jeans by going to theperfectjean.nyc.
Our listeners get 15% off their first order plus free shipping.
It's lighter, softer, stretchier, and it's not a sex toy.
Not with that attitude.
Use that one, Finn.
And again, that's free returns, free exchanges when you use code UNSUB15 at checkout.
That's 15% off at checkout for the perfect jeans. Connor loves perfect jeans.
He does. They fit him really nice.
Oh, pants.
So now you got out of PJs, you did 10 years or how
11 years. So 10 years in active duty, a year in the reserves. I was doing some like private personnel recovery stuff for banks and insurance companies. That was freaking, quite frankly, it was really interesting, but it was really, let's just say it wasn't values aligned for me. So I left that, actually did a quick 6 months in Hollywood because while I was waiting for my agency clearance to go through, just freaking Forrest Gumped my way into working for a very well-known Hollywood actor who's like still a good friend to this day. And
Security.
no, not security, as a technical advisor on a movie for him.
I was smart.
Did a few months in Hollywood, decided that was not the life for me. I don't want anything to do with that. And then my agency clearance went through and went to a specialized unit at the CIA.
goes to Hollywood, I'd rather go back to Afghanistan.
Oh, heck yeah.
I was going to go.
War looks war.
I was going to go the opposite direction with that. Goes to Hollywood once, works in Hollywood, decides to dedicate the rest of his life to stopping
Basically going after Hollywood.
Two things can be true at once. Yes.
Well, yeah. It's just not for me. And so there's people who work there. I met some awesome people, but also met some real dirtbags. And so ended up at the agency. That was super interesting. I literally just got a call one day. It was like, hey, do you want to come try out for this program? Can't tell you what it is. The answer to that, if you ever get the call, should always be yes. And so I show up to this nondescript building, and I'm there with a bunch of other dudes who look like me. And we go in and sit in these little freaking desks, like
the Men in Black opening scene.
Like these little I don't know, like school desks, right? With the little arm that comes up and the
Did
little
you crack your back?
little deal there. No, but I should.
I've been this close to buying a school desk just to have it to crack my back.
I never thought about that.
Fuck yeah!
Delete
It's perfectly.
delete my chiropractor bill. So I go in and they have you take this test, and so I take the test, and then you leave after that, and then they read off a bunch of names, and they read off those names. They're like, you guys can leave, and everybody else come back into the room. So we go back into the room, and they're like, you probably figured this out by now. We're the Central Intelligence Agency. This is the last time we're going to talk about that. Here's what you're going to do for the next couple of months. If you want to continue to do that, we'll pick you up tomorrow morning at the hotel. If you don't want to continue to do that, no harm, no foul. And so, of course, everybody did. And then I went to their little selection process for that unit for, I'm trying to remember. I think it was 6 weeks, 5 weeks, something like that. And then, made it through. And about 2 months later, I was in Baghdad on a covert action platform. So,
what was the hardest school you did up to? With that included, was it still in the military side? Which was the school that was holy shit, like combat diver?
PJ selection, hands down, the hardest. But then I also wonder, maybe is that just because I hadn't learned to play the game yet, and I was still a new guy and all that? Because I don't know. But PJ selection was definitely the hardest, followed by combat diver, followed by PJ school itself. It's not that PJ school is all that hard. It's just you have zero room for error. Everything is a selection, right? Everything is oh, why did you make that choice? Why did you do that? It's you're expected to be a thinker. There's no there's no going into robot mode. Except for maybe in land nav, it's going to help you to go in robot mode. But after that, there's really no going in robot mode, right? Because it's nonlinear problem solving, and you are in PJ school. This isn't unit training yet. You are jumping out of aircraft into the Atlantic Ocean after a boat, and you're doing that in PJ school. So yes, it's training, but there is very little room for error when you're doing that kind of stuff. And so you're doing night jumps into, quasi-mountainous terrain. You're doing night jumps into the ocean. You're doing a lot of high angle stuff. For 2 weeks, you're doing high angle stuff, and try not to screw that up because, some of those cliffs are a couple 100 feet. So it's not that it was hard per se. It was a freaking blast is what it was. It was, absolutely. You think about it, people have each one of those things for hobbies, and you're getting paid to go do that, every single day for weeks on end and getting some of the best training. So, but at the same time, there's no downtime. You have to be on all the time. The agency stuff was more of a gentleman's course, right? Because that unit, you had to have a minimum of at the time. And there are people who, because of nepotism, kind of slip through the cracks and things like that. But for the most part, you were supposed to have a minimum of 6 years of special ops experience and a minimum of 3 combat deployments under your belt just to go to tryouts. So you don't have to, I had CAG dudes in my class, how do you shoot that fast and that accurately? Please teach me your ways. It was amazing.
That's crazy when you say it like that. You're oh, and they looked at you swimming and what the fuck? fuck.
Yeah, I mean, it was like, wow. But it was kind of the same thing at the agency as it was in PJ school. There, like every little micro movement you make is evaluated, and then you're also peer evaluated. So it's not that it's that hard, right? PT test wasn't that big of a deal. The shooting standards were very high, but what the agency did, which I had never experienced before, is how like when you're shooting a qual and maybe you're not great at the 25-yard line with the handgun. So you're gonna make sure that all of your up close hits are A-zone hits, so that if you throw one, it's like you're still gonna pass because it's aggregate scoring. The agency, it's 32 separate tests.
Wow.
So every single one is scored. So if you passed everything and you get back to the 25-yard line and you threw a round, you fail. Never experienced that before. I was like, well, this is new.
Oh, so it's like,
yeah.
No-go.
Yeah. And then how in the military, you've got a shooting standard, at least in training, right? At the unit, it gets different, but you've got a standard. And then your night quals come around. You usually shoot the same thing, but you're on nods, but they'll add a second, right? Because you're on nods. The agency, nope. Exact same standard. It's freaking snowing on us. And so I'm like, got my hand over my EOTech and I'm like trying to keep the snow off my EOTech, and I'm not wearing gloves because I want that dexterity, but now my hands are freaking freezing and it's just like shooter ready. And you're just like, okay, here we go. And beep. And they have a student to instructor ratio so that nothing slips through the cracks. I mean, it's like one instructor to I think like 3 students on test day. So if there's a shot that breaks after the timer goes off, like they know exactly who it is, and they're like, "Yep, it's you," right? And so now you failed the time standard, and so it's not that it was that hard. I mean, anybody who is a decent marksman could pass this qualification. But like you're shooting for a multi-$100,000 a year job doing what you think is going to be some really cool stuff. So you got that monkey on your back, right? And you got that pressure, and that was something that was just different, right? It's not that it was harder; it was just different.
I think that's one of those. That's the thing people do not think about. It is holy shit. Now all that pressure. This is 32 tests. You were saying?
Yeah. So like 32 different shooting lines.
Yeah, and that's the thing. It's like, oh, if I f this one up, you just don't get to breathe that entire time. It's like, oh fuck, okay, I have to be perfect.
And then your CQB testing. I got hooked up with this former Marine. Got paired up with him, and he was awesome. I mean, the guy was just like when Captain America pops into your head, like that was this dude, man. Super fit, really good on the gun, incredibly humble, like just a great human being. And I got paired up with him, and I think we're doing 2-man hostage rescue runs because the agency operates in small teams. That's kind of the whole point. So this unit specialized in kind of a personnel recovery is a way to think about it, right? So doing security, personnel recovery, operational facilitation in very, very small teams. And I mean, sometimes you are your own team. So it's not a lot of what I came from the military, which is like, there's 12 dudes in a stack. There's freaking 30 dudes outside getting ready to come in, when you call for more help. It's like, okay, it's you.
There's QRF and then there's no QRF.
It's you and me, right? And like, that's it. And so we're doing our house runs on this, and I think everybody else had come back and they'd done like 3 iterations in the house, and you're not allowed to talk to each other about what the scenarios were, but it's just like, hey, how many times did you go through? How much ammo did you go through? Like you're trying to get some beta on like what you need to be prepared for, and look at how shot up they are with like UTM rounds and stuff. Yes. And we're going through, and this guy's name is Pat. And they're like, all right, Pat, Nick, you're good. We've seen enough. And that's what we hear from the catwalk. And we'd only done 2 rounds. And I was like, oh man, like we just failed.
It's really good or really bad.
Yeah. And
I'm thinking
through it in my head. I'm like,
we've seen enough.
Man, I feel like we just crushed that, and that's the worst because I've felt like I've crushed things before and like actually like did a terrible job.
Dude, my wife knows about that when I have sex
Same.
with her.
Yeah, she was talking about that at lunch.
I crushed that.
New personal record. 37 seconds.
What you got on that, babe?
S tier.
Speed is a company policy. Yeah,
I won.
Anyway, then they're like, all right, we've seen enough. And I'm like, we're like walking out of the house with our freaking head hung low, and they're like, hey, you two, great job. Like that's exactly what we expect to see. And I was like, oh, thank God. So like, you just never knew, like, did I do that right? And the instructors the whole time, when you're like, okay, like the military will always tell you what the standard is. And when I went through this selection process, they were just like, okay, like PT test. You're going to run a half a mile. You're going to pick up this 180-pound Mr. Hertz dummy. You're going to sprint 100 yards with that dummy, and then you're going to run a half a mile back. Okay. I'm like, yeah, what's the time standard? Do your best.
Whoa.
What? Do your best.
That makes life way more stressful.
All right. Mount the pull-up bar. How many pull-ups we got to do? Do your best. And you're just like, but like, do I need to keep some in the tank? Because like after this, you're going to have me doing like muscle ups on the side of a building. Like what do I got to do? And that's a lot of the pressure was just the unknown of just like, all right, do your best. And we'll let you know whether or not you did good enough.
I'm sure they had a bunch of other like specialized courses and training, stuff like that.
Yeah.
For example, like, agency specific, like what to do when you have to start a podcast afterward.
Yeah. Well, that was,
Navy SEAL
they
school.
don't have that in the agency training. I believe that's phase 3 of Buds is the books and, PR phase and stuff like that.
I love it. I love it.
That's a nice way of saying that the agency podcast pipeline is still part of Operation Mockingbird.
Yes.
So we're not going to talk about it.
We're just putting people into the media, right? Guys like you as an example. And so,
Wait. You're not supposed to out me like that.
oh shoot, no. Yeah. So once you get to the agency, then it was a lot of, it's just freaking big boy rules. It was actually shocking what the U.S. government would allow us to do with zero oversight and just like, hey, there's a problem in this country, go figure it out. And
Like in a good way?
Oh, in a very good way.
Yeah.
And then I'm like, oh, well, and then eventually I became a team leader and then eventually a country team leader. And I had the guys who really wanted to work hard and do cool stuff wanted to be on my team, and the guys who wanted to kind of sit around and play Xbox, they didn't want to be on my team. And so, the things that I'm like, okay, I'm going to submit this for an op. Oh, look, that got approved. Okay, well, now I'm going to submit this for an op. And, oh, that got approved too. And then one day I'm in a foreign embassy in a country because I'm helping one of our NATO partners, and they had a lot of, let's just say, an insane amount of restrictions on them, and my guys could kind of do whatever they wanted. And so my guys were the action element for their op.
You were the kinetic side when you ran everything, right?
We were the guys with guns. That was our job, was to carry guns in anger. You don't
Guns in anger is a good shirt.
Yeah. You don't hire dudes with soft backgrounds in order to, do analysis, and because they would suck at it and they would be like, yeah, there's a guy with a thing, he's doing bad stuff. And so I'm sitting there and we're getting ready to have a VTC with their counterparts at their headquarters in their country. And these agencies, our agency and their agency, have a very close relationship. Obviously for national security reasons, I can't say who it was. And so the VTC screen pops on, and who's the very first person I see? Deputy chief of my unit. He was like, I was like, oh, hey, what are you doing there? He's like, Nick, good to see ya. I was like, all right. So what are you doing there? He's like, well, that's what I'm here to find out. And I was like, okay, maybe I've advanced that line a little too far. And that's ultimately why one of many reasons I ended up leaving the agency was I just looked at, and the wars are winding down. I don't really want to be part of something like that when we're not in wartime. I mean, it's just, I don't see that as being a good time. And I started looking at the upper echelons because I was kind of on a career rocket ship and saying, okay, like, do I want to be that guy? And do I want to be that guy? And there's a couple of them that I really respected and really liked, and they were great leaders, but I didn't want to do their job. Right. And ultimately, you have to, I think, in an organization like that, you have to make a decision on, are you willing to play the game? Right? Are you willing to play that bureaucratic game? Because the only way for you to continue to be successful is to play that game.
What's this green Eli?
If I could read, I would be able to tell you.
Ag 1. I took that class in high school.
Yeah, I'm sorry I didn't take corn 3.
Boom, we're talking about AG1, or as Nick says,
Ag 1.
Is it a multivitamin that combines your pre and probiotics?
superfoods and antioxidants into one simple scoop.
Not amateur biotics, probiotics.
Them kids are dirty. Dude. The kids are running around with their little counterparts. They're touching hands with each other. They're getting dirty, so it's better to boost your immune system.
With Ag 1.
AG1. Ah, yummy.
You drank all that?
Yeah.
All right.
Heading into the holidays, it can be hard to maintain a balanced diet and give your body the nutrients it needs, which is why A1 comes in.
AG1.
Tomato.
Them kids is dirty.
AG1 is one of the easiest daily health habits you can start.
What a great New Year's resolution, Eli.
Brandon, what are yours other than taking Ag1?
Well, if you take out Ag 1, that's all of my New Year's resolutions. That's all I want to do is I want to drink more of it.
They come in little packs or travel packs.
Show them the travel pack.
Hot dog style pack as opposed to the hamburger style pack.
Yeah, we use this for the live shows because when we are on the road or touring, hot dog or hamburger is very nice to carry around. Also, AG1 comes in multiple flavors. We have original,
Grass,
citrus, berry, and tropical.
And right now, AG1 has their best offer ever. If you head on over to drinkag1.com/unsubscribe, what do you get, Eli?
Well, you'll get the welcome kit, 3 free AG1 travel packs, and 3 free AGZ travel packs. A bottle of vitamin D3 plus K2, an AG1 flavor sampler, and you'll get to try their new sleep product, AGZ.
we're drinking it at night.
That's drinkag1.com/unsubscribe for $126 in free gifts.
For new subscribers.
I think a lot of your average American is not going to understand when you say that. They're like, no, you can do what you want. And you're like, no, you have to play the game. Politics, everything we've seen so far is...
To a degree. Like,
But you still have to modify it. Even you have to mold yourself or who you are. You have to change slightly.
Some of us are better at it than others.
Yeah. And that's what I just realized that, like,
But it gets you in trouble. You get pee-pee slapped when you don't.
Sure.
Is the thing.
Yeah. And
Some of us are willing to take more pee-pee slaps than others.
And I had one of those incidents when I was at the agency where I got my own private flight out of a base because I got fired by the base commander, and I was right. I was right. I did the right thing. Like, I will die on that hill, but I might have gone about it a little harshly, right? And so it just ultimately was like, hey, to continue this wasn't going to be a good fit for what I want to do with my life where I was. I was really starting to kind of get into the tech side of some of the stuff we were doing at the agency. And so wanted to try that. And then also I had just been, from the time this Lashkar incident happened to the time that I'm in this country, and that was a 2-year period. And I started, I was the CIA rep for that country and on the hostage working group. And so I just started seeing it over and over and over. And I'm like, all right, I really dove into the data and the books on it because I'm just a big nerd. And I realized that, one, dollar for dollar, the largest human trafficking market is the United States of America. That blew my mind. Like, it's us. We are the problem. 2,
That's wild.
right? Like, if you think about it, the Bible in Proverbs says something along the lines of stop calling out the log in your brother, or the speck in your brother's eye, and not acknowledging the log in your own. And I feel like
Splinter in your brother's eye.
Yeah, I feel like that's what we were doing in America. And so I was like, all right, I think we can solve this problem in America, or at least reduce it significantly, because at the end of the day, it's the terrorism model. Like we have 20 years of fighting these bad guys, and people don't realize that terrorism is a commodity. It's literally like sold. And people think of terrorism, they think of just the person who's willing to blow themselves up. What about the entire chain of the guy who makes the vest, the guy who makes the explosive, the guy who finances all that stuff, the imam who,
pushes that message.
Yeah, like radicalizes the individual. I mean, it's an entire commerce chain. And that's what we ultimately got really good at fighting. And when I started looking at the way that trafficking was working in America and the way that terrorism worked, it was like, okay, we have a lot of correlations here. Maybe the general thesis was maybe this counterterrorism model can be modified to working with indig in America, and the indigenous force in America is law enforcement, which is not perfect. It's still the best law enforcement in the world.
Yeah, I'm glad you were able to pivot to that, because I know we're coming up, like we got like time constraints on the podcast. I was really hoping we could get to some of this stuff, because we were talking about it a little bit earlier. I find this incredibly intriguing, like how you were able to take that skill set and put it directly into something like preventing trafficking.
Yeah, it took me about 5 years to get it figured out, but now, I mean, I hate to say we have it figured out, but we kind of have it figured out probably more than the government does. So think about it this way.
Not as high of a bar as I would like.
I was trying to figure out how to word that exact same sentiment.
But it's the problem we have with trafficking. It's not that trafficking hasn't existed for a long time. Obviously, it has, right? And what people traditionally think of as prostitutes and pimps are human traffickers. Like, there's no such thing as a good pimp. They are human traffickers. A lot of what people think are prostitutes, like upwards of 80%, like Pareto applies in a lot of this, are actually trafficking victims. They're not there by will. And even if they're 21...
80%.
Yeah. And so even if they're like 21, 22 years old, they're like, oh no, this is a woman who's making this choice. It's like, is it really a choice when she was first trafficked by her parents for drug money when she was 12? And this is literally what she's been trained to do. Like, that's not a choice. That's desperation.
And a lot of people don't have that mindset where it's like, if you know no better, this is from a childhood. This is your right. It's the idea of like, what's evil?
Yeah.
Like, you're right, you're wrong.
There's nuance.
Yeah. And a lot of people just dropped that to the side and like, what are you talking about? Like, that girl's not going to know anything.
Yeah.
Period. It's like, I grew up in this. This is normal. This is what everyone
This is what my parents trained me to do.
And that's it. And if your parents taught you that, there was just a case, I want to say Portland or Utah, where it was a grandfather who had been taking the females and they're just isolated at the house, kids and all that. The kids got arrested. The males, they were like 20 to 25. Their entire life, they never associated with a single person. They were just told to have sex with your sister, and then that's it. And then we're making everything right through genetics. You guys are pure breeds. The world's evil. This is all you experience. Those 20-year-old guys went to jail. They're in prison right now. And they're like, we're sorry. We're sorry. They're apologetic now that they're in the limelight. They had no fucking clue of anything going on. In their head, they were just doing what they were told, and they were isolated from the world.
Yeah.
It's just horrifically depressing, because you're just talking about that pipeline, when they start, with their parents selling them off at like 13, 14 or renting them out, as crude as it sounds.
That was a lot of it.
They can't be trusted. Like, as a parent, like if you've got like a daughter, like that's something of inherent value, and you're supposed to be trusted to protect that and, turn that into a functional member of society, and certain people just don't have that responsibility.
So one of our analysts was embedded with a Texas county sheriff's office doing counter human trafficking operations a couple of weeks ago, and they had a customer show up, because when we do counter human trafficking operations, and I'll get to what that means, we are going after customers, traffickers, and then rescuing victims, right? So we help law enforcement do all three simultaneously in an operation, not treating each one as its own operation, right? And that's really the way that you should be doing these operations. And so customer shows up, gets busted, and he starts crying. And so, of course, our analyst, and she's amazing, Alicia Williamson is her name, who was running this op, former Marine Corps SIGINT analyst who then went and did spooky things. And she's doing this op, and this guy starts crying. And so the cops are like, well, of course you're crying because you got caught. And he said, no. He said, I'm crying because my daughter's not going to get a recital dress. And we're like, well, what do you mean?
That's like, wild disconnect.
I had just gone to get my daughter's dress for her recital, and he decided that he was going to book a date on his way home to give his daughter her recital dress so that she could go to her recital. And he was booking a date with a 15-year-old girl.
How old was his daughter?
13.
Oh, my fucking God.
And then his head is just...
So, like, this is the problem, right? Now, is that guy's daughter being a... I don't know. High likelihood. And so, like, this is the problem. And so how was this guy able to book... Oh, and the girl. So who's the trafficker? The trafficker is a suburban mom with her own kids. Suburban single mom with her own kids, and this is how she's paying for, like, in a neighborhood, like any middle class neighborhood that you would see. This is how she's paying for her kids' soccer fees, is by trafficking a 13-year-old girl, right? So how does all of that happen? How is it that this guy can book a date? Well, this is how. Right? Broadband connected microcomputers that are in everybody's pockets. So it used to be, right, back in the day, you had the red light district and you had the girls walking the street, right? Harry Hines Boulevard in Dallas, what's it called? Bissonnette in Houston. So that's the way that...
I like you say this, and I've never heard of any of these.
I was willing to go with it.
Sure. He hangs out with people. You have to like associate and know this stuff. And I'm like, I have none of.
Well, traditionally it was girls walking the street. It was girls on the reason that Backpage.com back in the day was called Backpage was because it used to be the back pages of the newspaper, right? It was.
That got it. So this is old internet, actually. Like 2000. Pre-2012, I want to say Backpages got banned, right?
No, Backpage got seized in 2018. We were one of the sources of intelligence that led to their takedown.
No shit.
Yeah.
There's a big escort problem on it.
Yeah.
And
we actually moved into their corporate headquarters. We got a screaming deal on it from the bank who owned the building because they were trying to rebrand a little bit. So we had our Dallas office there. We've since moved it. But
I was always told, like, the whole, because you brought that up, like the escort thing, like I was always told, and I always kind of assumed it was basically just like a thin veil of legality behind what was trafficking.
I mean, they were literally the big box store of trafficking. And so
this is a menu where it's just like click. That's it.
So one of the statistics I like to point out is between 2010 and 2015, the National Center for Missing and Exploited Children had an 846% increase in suspected trafficking cases. Why did that happen? Right, 846% increase in 5 years. Well, I started looking into the data on it, and the reason why is broad adoption of smartphones. See, smartphones used to be luxury items, and then AT&T came out with their Next program, where you could finance the smartphone as part of your monthly bill. And then every other telco provider started doing exactly the same thing. And so what do you have? You have a massive increase in smartphone use. And when you have a massive increase in smartphone use, what directly comes with that? It's a 1-to-1 correlation. Social media use increases. So for the first time in history, you could be a 40-year-old man 3,000 miles away from a 12-year-old girl who just made a social media video about how she's mad at her dad for not letting her wear the miniskirt to the mall. And that trafficker, that predator, that slides into their DMs right at that very point of vulnerability and starts telling them, oh no, it's just because you're so pretty. Your dad's just trying to keep you from growing up. Here, let me send you a gift. And then it's take a picture for me. And then it's a nude picture. And then it's now I got you, right? And so that's the problem. We have given... It used to be that predators could only access the prey that they could physically access. What the internet did was it gave the predators access to all of the prey, And the social media marketing algorithms, that was the targeting algorithm for the predator. Because now all a predator has to do is get a burner phone, create a burner email address, very easy to do. That'll take you about 2 minutes, cost you no money, and then start up a fake book account, and then like something that a 12-year-old girl likes, and then Instagram, Snapchat, everybody goes, oh, well, you might also like this, right? And then just to kind of make the numbers easy, we'll use round ones. A predator knows that he's got to try to connect with 100 girls to get 50 to connect with him, to get 25 to talk to him, to get 10 to have a meaningful conversation, to get 5 to do something they regret, to get 2 to agree to meet him, to get 1 to actually show up. And that one girl's worth, on average, about $93,000 a year in black market money. So he's not paying taxes on that, right? And he can run 3 to 5 girls at a time. So the internet is what created that problem. And that's how we got here. Then what do? We give kids access to gaming consoles that have internet connections that allow predators to get on games like Roblox, which is one of the biggest offenders, and then pretend like they're somebody else. There's been a number of experiments that have been conducted, and they said that within 15 seconds of showing up on Roblox, a child will see some type of nudity that actually would be regulated in the physical space.
Do what
that
now?
They shouldn't see. Within 15 seconds, yes, on Roblox, a child can see what would otherwise be considered regulated pornography. Yes.
The lobbies, it's just lobby based. So then it's, I'm a kid, I'm joining this because cool. I mean, I guarantee you have actual.
We got data that Roblox doesn't want us to have, and this is a massive scale because, like, just on Roblox alone, we have a list of confirmed pedophilia accounts on Roblox. You know how many lines are on that list?
Jesus,
over 400,000. The commercial sex advertisements where these kids are and these victims are advertised, these different websites, right? Like it used to be Backpage.com. Now it's a number of them. I'm obviously not going to say which ones because I don't want to drive traffic to them. They're predominantly outside of the U.S. jurisdiction, right? So nothing the U.S. government can do about it. We collect those advertisements at a massive scale, on average about 75,000 a day. Right. So we're bringing those in. We have our own engineers. We have our own supercomputers, and we're distributing this data, thanks to the generosity of donors, to over 8,000 law enforcement officers across the United States.
Well, just real quick, where can people donate for that specifically? Because
so that's just deliverfund.org, and that's deliver, DELIVER, fund, FUND.org. And deliver is, deliver me from evil, deliver the orphans and the rescued, right? Psalm 82. And so, what we do at Deliverfund by providing this data to law enforcement, right? People think with my background, the way that we're fighting human trafficking, like, oh, you must be kicking doors and stuff. It's like, well, no, not because I don't know how to do that, but because that's not scalable. And we have a massive scale problem when it comes to the fight against human trafficking. So it's not a matter of like some guy who used to be special ops is like, oh, I'm going to go be a hunter now. Like, no, it's like, it's providing the data to the law enforcement officers who are actually doing this. And if the government came up with money for this, like let's just say all of a sudden the government put $1 billion towards the fight against commercial trafficking in America.
We would never want to pay for that as taxpayers.
Well, but the defense contractors would come in and they would build all the tools that law enforcement needs. But there's no money for law enforcement to be able to actually solve this problem. So that's why
there's a lot of money. We just don't use.
Well, there's no money that's dedicated to this problem. And so we just stepped in and said, okay, fine, we'll just start solving these law enforcement problems. And so what we do 3 things. We equip with technology and data. We train, because you got to teach the cops how to use the technology and data. And then we advise, which is a fancy way of saying we give them intelligence on traffickers. And what that allows us to do is our analysts, because they're actually doing task force operations with these law enforcement officers, they get to stay on top of the pivots that the traffickers are making in the market, right? They're no longer doing this, they're now doing this. They're advertising minors this way and not this way anymore, right? And then that information goes to our engineers. Our engineers automate that, and then that goes to law enforcement, and that cycle just continues to go.
Yeah, because there's a lot of law enforcement organizations across the country. They're doing a great job in this regard.
Yeah.
But there's also a lot that are woefully behind. Just like the one that Cody was talking about earlier. The guy that was saying that, can you believe, like, we just got a briefing today. Can you believe that they're using Bitcoin? It's like,
no, they're actually using Monero now, but
congratulations, you've graduated to 2012.
Yeah.
Like, this has been a thing for over a decade.
So it's a big problem. Federal government needs to come up with money, but that's one of the solutions. But the other solutions are industry. So I actually wrote a pretty lengthy paper on this. So you can go to 10 points. That's TEN points.deliverfund.ai. And you can see like there's 10 opportunities to disrupt any illicit commodity sale. 9 of them sit with industry. So one, those victims should never be able to be advertised on the internet in America anyway. Can't really do anything about those websites because they sit outside of U.S. jurisdiction. Well, the next is the phone carriers, specifically a company called Cinch and then another company called bandwidth.com. So what they do is they provide these burner phone numbers, right? And it used to be that the burner phone was a, prepaid phone that you could buy at Walgreens or whatever, and it was your anonymous phone. Now it's all VoIP, so it's all software. So it doesn't fall under the same rules as this phone. Like you cannot go to Verizon and walk out with a piece of hardware with a phone number attached to it without showing an ID and Verizon knowing who you are. You can do that through software apps that you can download from the App Store. So then what happens is law enforcement will try to subpoena that phone record. It goes to a bandwidth.com or Cinch or somebody like that, Envoy, and then they are like, well, we sold that number, leasing that number to this app company. Now they have to subpoena that app company. And then the app company is like, oh, well, we're allowing this organization to use it. And it just goes on. And so
what's the solution there?
The solution is that we need to apply the same FCC rules that we apply to the regular telco industry to the VoIP companies. And we need to not allow them to sell those numbers direct to consumer without ID, right? And one of the things that, and I can already hear the privacy people in the comments, so just shut up and let me finish.
I was going to bring it up. I was like, because I guarantee you experience it, like to anything. It is, hey, well, this, and it is that weird space.
Anonymous transactions are allowed in America and are constitutionally protected, as they should be. Gun dealers, I can buy a gun with cash. Can I buy a gun with cash without showing an ID?
If it's private sale, yes. Well, it depends on the state.
But can I sell that to a minor?
No.
There you go. So now I understand the impetus on me, and there's a lot of gray area there. But the point is that the telco industry is a regulated industry. So I can't buy tobacco without showing an ID. I can't buy alcohol without showing an ID. Why is it that I can buy a burner phone number on an app for 99 cents without that company knowing who I am? And I'm not saying the government should know who I am. The only way the government should know that I'm using that number is if there is a subpoena signed by a judge, right? And they're actually going to collect that information.
Right, which is just like basic Fourth Amendment level stuff.
Yeah. So there's a difference between privacy and anonymity.
Yeah.
Privacy says it's not the government's business or anybody's business what it is that I'm doing. Anonymity says I have no ability to have consequences for my actions. Right? And license plates are a great example. Your license plate on your car gives you privacy, but it doesn't give you anonymity. If you're in a hit and run, right, and you kill somebody, well, law enforcement has the ability to track you down and try to figure out what happened, but your license plate doesn't tell the government like what you did last Tuesday, right? And so one of the things that we have to come to terms with in America is the difference between privacy and anonymity.
Which I like what you said about the as long as there's a warrant signed by a judge. It's
Yes.
like it's still due process. It's not just like mass surveillance. It's just the ability to, if we accuse you of committing a crime, which we have reasonable suspicion that you have done, we have an ability to find out who.
Yeah. Bank accounts are a great example, right? I mean, personally, I'm of the kin that, income taxation, notice I said income taxation, is theft, but it doesn't mean that we should have anonymous bank accounts, right? Because anonymous bank accounts, like we tried that for a little while and it didn't work. And we had this massive organized crime problem in America in the 50s and 60s. We've got the Banking Privacy Act and different AML and KYC rules that got passed. And okay, well now the bank knows who's putting money into the bank and what the source of funds are. Damn. It's not perfect, but it's better than we had it where we didn't have that. And so you can't have all the benefits of a polite and safe society and not have any rules. And that's where we are on this issue. And so the burner phone issue is a great example. You don't have to actually pass a new law. You just have to make the existing law apply to this software technology, because this software technology didn't exist when the law was written. Like that's it. So it's not a policy change at all. It's just closing a loophole. And it's a loophole that companies like Cinch and Bandwidth.com are making millions and millions of dollars on. And the price is children. Like it's the innocence of those children.
And if I can already counter the devil's advocate, they would say something along the lines of, oh, well, semi-automatic firearms didn't exist when the Second Amendment was written.
Sure.
It's like, okay, well, A, that's not the spirit of the law. Like it shouldn't matter what kind of firearms. But
Correct.
B, firearms are a constitutionally protected natural right. It's something you have a natural right to defend yourself and to have your own property and everything like that. And you have a right to defend yourself. It's constitutionally protected. Whereas this, what you're proposing is still falling in line with what is constitutionally protected, because you're talking about, okay, it's still not violating your right to privacy, your right to be secure in your possessions against unreasonable searches and seizures, because you're still following due process.
Right. And there's also like, there should not be a government registry, just like there shouldn't be for firearms, there shouldn't be for phones. However, when we task the government, right, the one thing the Constitution says that the government is supposed to do is defend and protect, right? It's the one positive liberty to the government. So when the government is trying to do its job of defend and protect, the government should be able, with the proper paperwork and the proper Fourth Amendment procedures, go to the phone company that runs that number and say, who has that number? Because they were just exploiting a child. Right.
Which the federal government has that shit anyway. Like in today's day and age?
Not on the burner phones. They don't. It's actually the biggest problem we have in the child exploitation fight.
I'm saying it depends on how high you go up the ladder.
Oh, sure.
Yeah, like
let's just say it's not making it to the county detective level.
That's my problem. Yes. It's like your county government doesn't have the ability. It's like you climb that ladder high enough, there's nothing they don't have. They're just not giving that information.
Right. Or there might be actual rules against you using those technologies on U.S. soil or something like that, right? But that doesn't mean that they couldn't give them to
doesn't
law
mean they don't
enforcement.
collect it.
And it doesn't mean that, yeah. So the point here is that we've made it so that predators can have direct access to children anonymously. And that's a problem. And that's why we have problems like the 764 group on Roblox, which is literally a satanic cult that is they're not money motivated. Their motivation is getting children to cut like the numbers 764 onto like their chest, trying to get them to commit suicide. Like that's their currency. They're actually trading in this stuff. And so we have to. Like we can't just say, okay, we're not going to allow this stuff to happen on Roblox anymore. Is a great example, because the only way to do that is for Roblox to be able to say, okay, we know that this account belongs to Brandon and we know that this account belongs to Nick. And so when law enforcement shows up, then they can tell law enforcement who it belongs to. And right now they can't do that. And I think with companies like Roblox, it's by design.
Yeah, I mean, it seems very clear, like the way that their company has responded to a lot of this stuff, that they don't want to solve the problem.
No, because that would mean friction in signups, and frictionless signup, frictionless account creation is what's leading to everything from a lot of the problems we're dealing with in politics to the lack of discourse in our country, right? Because other countries are doing this to us as well. So what human traffickers are doing to you have the Russians doing at a very large scale, right, within our social media platforms. But Roblox can report more daily active users. Never mind if 60% of them are bots, and another large percentage of them are. So when we look at this internet anonymity issue, right, the burner phone issue, the fact that these can just set up these accounts at will, that's the ultimate upstream problem on why we're dealing with this trafficking pandemic in America. And that's what we have to start solving. And so at Deliverfund, we're solving that, working directly with law enforcement. We work with a lot of industry partners as well, but we do it all in a way so that it's all donor funded.
Yeah.
So nobody in the government, and we have had this happen where people call us and say, hey, maybe you don't look behind that door. And we say, oh, that's really interesting. We're going to go look behind that door.
That sounds like the kind of door you need to look behind.
Yeah, we don't have any hooks into us. So that's what we're doing to fight the trafficking epidemic, and it's working. It was a side project that got way out of control.
And I've got to give shouts out while we're on the Roblox thing. Again, we talked about this a little bit before, but our Attorney General, Ken Paxton, for the state of Texas, being, I think, the first to actually go after Roblox specifically for that.
Yeah, and there's a number of other attorney generals that then followed suit, and that's great. But is that really going to move the needle on the problem? Right? I mean, you're talking a multi-billion-dollar publicly traded company, right? That their price to sales ratio last time I checked was like a 13. I mean, they're a tech growth story. So
they just last year switched from a small-time LLC to an actual. They tried to get away with, oh no, we're a small company. What are you talking about?
Yeah, you're a publicly
You're
traded,
making
very
billions
large
of dollars. That was last year.
Yeah,
they were forced to switch their LLC and how they were filing because they were just
too big.
Worrying about tax. They're like, no, we're not. And you're like, homies, you guys are publicly traded. You have a currency. You have a actual currency in your game that makes billions of dollars. What the fuck are you talking about?
Well, and what's crazy about that, then one of the things that they try to defend themselves with is they're like, oh, these are just a few cases that slipped through the cracks. Oh no, all these lawsuits are proving that this is not just a few cases that slipped through the cracks.
But and I think it was part of their own team too, right?
Their own developers. Their statement. I've showed this clip on with Papa Me at Meat Canyon talking about it.
Yeah.
He reads a statement from the owners and the board, and they're like, well, you know what? We're making money. What's the problem?
Well, because it was some of their own people. Like, I don't want to go into the defamation territory because this is just what my understanding is.
It's okay. I got the actual quotes written down right here. Beautiful. So we can just read them.
So you can just do it for me. Because it seemed like people that were on their team were like participating in this.
So yes, that has been well documented, but really at the end of the day, like what's the CEO's view on this stuff? Like the CEO's name is David Baszucki. What is his view on this stuff? Well, let's ask him. So he was on the Hard Fork podcast, which is, this was in November of last year, right? So this is relatively recent. He was on the Hard Fork podcast, which is like it's a New York Times podcast. And he was asked about the predator problem that was coming out around Roblox. And he said, and this is a direct quote, I'm going to read it. We think of it being the predator problem, not necessarily just as a problem, but an opportunity as well.
What the fuck was the context of that?
How do we allow young people to build, communicate, and hang out together? That was his response to being asked about the predator problem, right?
What the
yeah.
This dude's
Baszucki.
evil.
Oh, absolutely. Bazooki at the September 2023 Roblox Developers Conference. So where all of their developers, the people who make these games, where they all get together in one conference, right? He's the keynote. And so September 2023 at the Roblox Developers Conference, and then he continued to do it in 2025. He said, and this is a direct quote, when he was making his like predictions about the direction that the company is going to go. So at the Developers Conference in 2023, he said, thousands of 17 plus users will meet for the first time in Roblox dating experiences and subsequently form real life relationships. Last time I checked, 17-year-olds were minors.
Is he American?
He is Canadian.
What are the rules in Canada? Is that
not? That's where Mr. Swirls. I'm sure you've read that swirl.
Oh well, I know about that fucking story.
Canada let him go.
Yeah,
3 years, and homie was the most notorious in the world.
He's like a legit child.
But this company is headquartered in Silicon Valley. It is traded on the New York Stock Exchange. This man and his company are completely subject to U.S. jurisdiction. So I just think it's one of the things that one of my early mentors at the agency told me. He said, if you listen to what the enemy says, they will tell you what they're going to do, and you should believe them, right? And in this case,
that's why I listen to the World Economic Forum.
There you go. He's telling you, like he's saying all the quiet parts out loud. In July 2023, in an interview with GameDaily.biz, Bazooki was asked if Roblox would ever allow nudity on its platform. Keep in mind, the majority of users on the Roblox platform are under the age of 13. He knows this. He knows this, right? Like he knows who his players are and who his users are. And you know what his response was when asked if he would ever allow nudity on the platform? He said, "I would never rule it out."
Didn't you already say that like you're possibly 15 seconds away, like a child's 15 seconds away from regulated nude content?
Yeah, his direct quote was, "I would never rule it out." And he went on to say, based on the company's long-term view of mirroring real-life activities and enthusiasms while also maintaining safe boundaries. And then he went on to add that getting to that kind of stuff probably isn't in the short term for us, though. Right?
Oh, good.
So then he was asked also on Hard Fork about gambling for kids. And if you go watch the interview, you'll see the Hard Fork interviewer said, it's not like you'd ever allow gambling or something like that, right? You could tell he was totally trying to give him a softball. And Bazooki's response was, he said here, direct quote, he said, "That's a brilliant idea. It sounds very fun and obvious. I love that." And then you could see the interviewer was like, no, man, like on the record, like, I think this is a horrible idea. And then Bazooki doubled down and he said, "No, it's a brilliant idea if it can be done in an educational way that's legal."
All right, let me back up. So in this example,
what the fuck?
You're using an in-game, what is it, Robux or whatever the like that currency,
which is tied to
purchased by U.S. dollars.
Yes. Like there's a credit card attached.
Child gambling with extra steps with real money.
Yeah, but it is real money because Roblox Robux has an actual value, right?
Right, because you have to buy it with real money.
Right. And then Roblox takes, I believe, 30% of that transaction, right? So that's how they make their money. So here you've got somebody who has no problem with child gambling, right? Turning it into a dating platform for minors, saying that, knowing that the majority of his users are minors, saying that he wouldn't rule out nudity, right? That he wants to mirror real life enthusiasms, which that's weird.
Well, it's
check this motherfucker's hard drive.
Well, thank you. Like, I want to see that browsing history and I want to see that hard drive because I have a lot of questions. But
Christoph Waltz talks about this when he was interviewed about his character in.
It was Inglourious Bastards.
Inglourious Bastards, and he says, "Man, how did you play evil so well? What are you talking about?" He thought he was right. I just played it like my perspective of, oh, this is normal. This is okay behavior. That's why it's so foreign to him. He's like, oh, that's a great idea. Let me implement this.
Exactly.
Evil's not going to know they're evil. They're
Exactly.
not going to know they're exploiting individuals. It's okay for them.
Right.
And then you get statements like that where it is, holy shit, no homie. Like, what are you talking about?
What a great way to grow the game. Right. And so then they added these age blocks, which is part of the pressure that's come from the Attorney General lawsuits and these other private lawsuits that have been filed, but they still aren't showing IDs. What they're doing is they're using this age estimation software that's terrible. There's actually videos on YouTube of a kid who drew a face on a thumb with a marker and did the age estimation just doing that. Like the technology doesn't work. It's freaking smoke and mirrors. There's another one where you can see this little kid. He drew a beard on his face with a marker, and it estimated him at like over 18.
You have, just for reference, if you wonder, your average, I want to say Counter-Strike, massive game, like 10 million players actively daily, and that's an absurd number that usually doesn't happen. Now you look at Roblox, you have 10 billion registered accounts, so more registered accounts than humans exist.
10 billion?
Right.
10 billion. Monthly users, 380 million. Daily, 144 million active daily users in Roblox. 40% are under 13. So 40% of us is like 50 million then? 50 million of the active user base daily is under 13.
You're the Asian.
Oh my! I don't have my calculator.
And so we've got documentation.
You
of,
are the calculator.
You're supposed to be
God.
at least.
Went harder, or whatever the fuck you got to do.
Well, it's like 380 million. That's the population of the U.S.
Yeah.
That's
So we have documentation of people selling basically minor authenticated accounts. So they'll sell them to. Right. So they put in these age gates. Roblox did, which I think was also saying the quiet part out loud, because on one end of the age of one group, so you're allowed to talk like one group down and one group up. So what that allows is it allows a 15-year-old boy to have a conversation with a 9-year-old girl that he doesn't know. And Roblox has no problem with that. They think it's absolutely fine. And I have had conversations with so many people at Roblox, and they all like just basically take this like, well, you don't understand the volume problem. And well, no, I understand the volume of kids that are getting hurt.
And this is where I'm a boomer on this, because I don't know shit about Roblox outside of, the super like wavetop stuff and all the shit I learned through this. I'm sure a lot of this is taking place like through DM features and stuff like that.
So it's what parents, so like, let's get to kind of the meat of this. Like, what do parents need to know? Couple of things that parents need to know. The process is the trafficker, right? Whatever they are, because those are actually two different things, but we don't get into the minutia of it. The bad guy meets your child on a gaming platform pretending to be somebody that they're not, right? So that's fraud. Then they off-platform them to Discord, something like that, Snapchat, something like that. And what they'll try to do is they'll try to do it through multiple different platforms. So they'll send them a message on Roblox, and then they'll send them a message on Discord, and then they'll send them a message on Snapchat. So it's really hard for law enforcement to tie all that together, right? And that's where our analysts and stuff come in, and they do an amazing job of tying that together for law enforcement and a lot of our technology as well. So that's kind of the way that they'll do it. And so they'll off-platform them, and then they're slowly trying to get them to do something that they regret that they can use as a handle to extort them. And in some cases, like in the 764 group, which is like literally a satanic group that is trying to target your kids, that is happening to every single child who is on a platform like Roblox, right? Who is on, a Discord server. Like, they are in there, and the currency is the kids. And so once they off-platform them, they get them to do something they regret. And it's like, okay, well, now I'm going to get you to do more, and I'm going to get you to do more. And then it forks. So on one hand, the human trafficker wants physical control of that individual so they can rent them by, basically by the 20-minute increment. On the other side, you've got these sick parents who want to control that child psychologically and get them to send photos and get them to do more and more terrible stuff. In the case of the 764 group, they're trying to get the kids to kill themselves and to kill themselves on camera. Like, that is their ultimate goal. And if
I hate we can't, like, YouTube
Kill them?
to y'all. Well, yeah, that. But YouTube, I do hate we can't talk about this without getting fucking. We have to then skirt
blur it.
around the words and the verbiage.
Sure.
Because then, and I don't want you to. I'm just saying,
some of this you're going to have to cut. I totally get it.
No, we're going to keep it. It's just we have to. We hate that we have to censor or skirt around this so it hits the masses.
Which is a whole other problem.
Stupid.
Like, so at Deliverfund, we don't have a TikTok account. You know why we don't have a TikTok account? Because we talk about trafficking. And TikTok doesn't want you talking about child trafficking, right? We got to be very careful about what we say on our YouTube channel and what we say on Instagram and whatnot. That's why these, like, all these podcasts saying the same thing is so important, is because you can't, parents need to know this stuff. Kids need to know this stuff. And more importantly, our policymakers need to know this stuff so they can actually start getting to the bottom of it and actually start regulating this. I mean, there's not a reasonable argument why an 18-year-old boy should be able to talk to a 12-year-old girl who's a stranger. There is no reasonable argument for that. And anybody who thinks that's a reasonable argument wants to defend that, like, I want to check their browsing history in their hard drive, right? Because they're probably in on it. And so we have to start actually taking these problems seriously and saying, okay, like, children are being abused and being exploited at a rate we have never seen before. We understand exactly why. In our data that we have at Deliverfund, I can tell you exactly what companies, what they're doing, how they're working this. And I actually have gone to so many of these companies and said, hey, your phone numbers are being used for child exploitation. One of them, the CEO and I are even in this same kind of like economics group. And he doesn't even have the common courtesy to respond, right? Another one, I've sent them, I sent them tons of information, like spreadsheets of information, don't even respond. And then we'll go check those numbers to see if they're still up, and they're still up. They don't take any action. It's the same thing on the advertisements. It's the same thing on social media. Right. And so that's the problem that we're solving, and that's the problem we collectively have to start working together to solve.
Just really quick, so it is clear, like, we cut and censor this the best we can to deliver it to the most people we can. Otherwise, if we just left as is, no one's going to see it, unfortunately. So that's why, if there was bleeps or how it's specifically cut, is to reach the masses. It's not us censoring. It's like, oh, we care about advertisement. We don't. We don't give a fuck. It is...
YouTube will kill our reach.
YouTube will kill the algorithm, then nobody sees it.
That's the thing. It will throttle it. And I want you all to understand that of everything going on, or the beeps or anything, that's why.
Which is one of my many problems with the algorithm and the way that a lot of, not just YouTube, but like a lot of corporations run things, is because they're trying to solve a problem and they think one step ahead and not three. And the one step is, ooh, well, that's a sensitive topic. We don't want people to talk about it on our platform. And then the downstream effects of that is, we're warning against it, and we're trying to expose this stuff, but show what people can do about it, to help with it, to keep people informed. And because that information doesn't get out, more kids get fucked over.
Yeah. And
that's the long term.
If YouTube was serious, or Meta, or any of these companies, if they were actually serious, if the words that came out of their mouths meant something, they would actually create their algorithm in such a way so that it promoted this kind of content, to get it in front of as many people as possible, to warn them. And they would even be creating their own content to put in front of people,
or at least don't
them.
Penalize it.
Right. But the fact that they're penalizing it makes you ask a lot of questions about why they would do that. And I've got a lot of
because
theories,
they've got to sell ads to Nabisco.
Yes,
is the short answer to that.
God, I hate that so much.
Not calling out Nabisco specifically. I'm sure you're just as corporate as anybody else. But
Nick, before we move into just this the after show, because I know everyone's on restriction, and I do want to ask one question that will go on the after show. I want the kidnap story. Like, And that's how I'm going to leave that because now everyone's like, what?
The kidnap story.
There was a situation where it escalated where maybe it's not. Is it? There was
the thing you wanted. So like how we're going to end this. So we'll cut this piece right here.
Yeah, but it's there was something that escalated. I was reading, or maybe it was just like random information. There's like kidnap or escalation when you were overseas.
Yeah. So like the one that I tell in the Real Jack Ryan documentary. So that's kind of a funny story. And it just goes to show how like things just go wrong at the most random time. So,
before we're going to hold on that for Patreon, but where can everyone find you or your information?
So the best way to find me is just by following Deliverfund. I'm not a big social media guy. I put some stuff out every once in a while. For the most part, I'm putting out Deliverfund stuff. So it's just at Deliverfund on every platform where you could find it. You can learn more about me by going to nicmckinley.com. So if you need to get a hold of me for whatever reason, that's the best way to do it. And then I'm personally on all the social accounts at the.nic.mckinley, and that's NIC spelled correctly.
The two Nicks.
That's right. There's two of us. Just the.nic.mckinley on all the social platforms. And for anybody who this resonated with, like we are a nonprofit. We got to raise the money to keep our servers and supercomputers and engineers going year round, and the financial support is really the thing we need the most. And for law enforcement who heard this and is like, man, I really need to reach out, please do. You are the reason we exist. If you don't take action and you don't do something, all of the work that we're doing is completely for naught. So if you're law enforcement, please reach out. We can help you. We can give you access to our platforms. We can give you access to our data. We can train you on what to look for and how to do these operations. So please let us help.
Okay, fantastic. Well, seriously, thank you so much for coming.
Thanks
on.
for having me.
Sharing this
Appreciate
stuff,
it.
man.
Hope to be on again.
Absolutely.
100% now.
Anytime.
You're going to be a homie.
Yeah, anytime, brother.
Brandon, close us out, you beautiful son of a bitch.
All right. Well, thank you guys so much for joining the Unsubscribed podcast. I was joined today by Eli Doubletap, Nic, the other Nic, both spelled with a C, and myself, Bronut Operator. Thank you guys so much, and we will see you in the next one.
In the after show.
In the after show.
Love you.